Chapter 467. In less than 2 minutes, number 86 and number 88 walked up to Su Yun, hand in hand. Putting aside their occupation, these two girls could still be considered as girls who could be taken out in public. He really didn't know why they still needed to do such a job with such looks. They weren't even as noble as those mistresses who were kept by corrupt officials and rich businessmen. At least, after those women were 30 years old, if they did well, they could get a house, a car, and some savings. Even if they were exposed, they could be worshipped as anti-corruption heroes. There were people who could take down Lei Jingfu in 12 seconds. But what would these girls who came out to do this end up with? A body full of incurable diseases and painful memories full of scars? Hello, sir. The two girls bowed. When Su Yun saw these two girls for the first time, he felt that these two girls were not the kind of girls who came out to be prostitutes willingly. Perhaps everyone who came out to be prostitutes was not willing. But these two girls looked very special because their expressions were very similar to Liangshan's sister whom Su Yun met when he went to Fan Nanjie's bathing center in Hudong. He remembered reading an article written by a manager of the bathing center. What he wrote was very profound. He said that they might be good friends with you and would be loyal to you. They would also love a man deeply, but they didn't like people around them to sympathize with them. They chose this path because they didn't want to admit and face that they were pitiful people in this society. If you wanted to be good to them, if you wanted to pity them, then patronizing their bodies was the most practical concern in their eyes. These words seemed ordinary, but if one really thought about it carefully, one would understand that it was the real meaning of life is hard, don't expose people. Their lives were really so difficult. They hoped that those things would never be exposed. That person summed it up well. Prostitutes were also human, and it was not easy for them. Heartache was heartache, but this was their own choice. Su Yun could only say that a pitiful person must have something hateful. Sir, what service do you need from us? Number 86 was the first to speak. You can choose our service items. We will charge you if you want to do it, and we won't charge you if you don't want to do it. How would Su Yun know about these things? He had never enjoyed such services before, so he could only ask for an explanation. Then, can you tell me what services you have? There's a bathroom here. We can start with the underwater activities. There's water snake around the waist, moon exploration in the water, around the world, and paradise in the water. Number 88 said. Each item can be served separately. The price is the same. 10 minutes, 200. Damn, it's quite expensive. Su Yun shook his head and said, well, I just took a shower. If I take another shower, my skin will peel off. Forget it. Would you like to see me dance, sir? Number 86 said. It's also 10 minutes. You can choose between Wild Dance of the Golden Snake or Wild Cat Hair Wave. The price is 160 yuan. This name is too explicit, and it's so vulgar. It's obvious that the person who came up with this name isn't some cultured person. Su Yun still shook his head. He didn't want to see two quiet girls shaking their hair in front of him, as if they were on drugs. It seems that Sir likes to be direct. Then let's start with gentle and gentle, then high mountain and flowing water, circling dragon spits pearl, and poisonous dragon turns. Number 88 continued to introduce. Number 86 didn't want to be outdone. There's also 10 fingers playing the piano, red lips kiss, desert storm, dragonfly skimming the water, dragon cave exploration, monkey picking peach, and toppling the mountains and overturning the seas, straight to the heart of the dragon. When Su Yun heard the last part, he couldn't help but feel his chrysanthemum tighten. Although Su Yun hadn't eaten pork before, he knew the lines of going west. Although he didn't understand other things, he was very clear about straight to the heart of the dragon. Even if he was offered money, he wouldn't play with this service. If he didn't even see Gua Chuanjiang and Tai Zhonghua after coming to this damned place, and had to leave while singing that his chrysanthemum was covered in wounds, then it would really be like going for wool and coming home shorn. Seeing this customer's head shaking like a rattledrum, number 88 was a little disappointed. Then let's try Star Wars Jade Hand Guanyin, Shisher pushing the mill, Ice and Fire World? Or let's try the characteristics, upside down golden hook, heavenly maiden scattering flowers, golden rooster standing alone, flat plains? Number 86 quickly added. Stop, stop, stop. 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 Su Yin said the word stop 5 times in a row. He was really dizzy. This small bath center really made use of Hua Xiao's extensive and profound idioms to the extreme. People who could think of these idioms should be F***king professors in the Chinese department of Yanjing University. Only using the word talented to describe them was really burying their talent. Number 86 and number 88 saw that the customer was anxious, so they didn't dare to say anything. They sat quietly on the side, wanting to hear what the customer wanted. If they came and didn't want to serve anything, it would be against the rules. This customer was really strange. Did he only want to pay them the starting appearance fee and not consume anything? One had to know that the appearance fee was fully collected by the company. No matter how many services they performed, the company would take half of the service. That was their income. If the customer didn't do anything, they wouldn't have any income. What should they do? How long would it take for your full service? Su Yin asked. 120 minutes. Number 88 said in a low voice. Okay, 2 hours. You'll stay here for 2 hours. Su Yin. I don't need you to do anything, but you can write that I've enjoyed your full service. This way, you'll make a lot of money and won't have to work hard. Is that okay? The two sisters looked at each other. What was this customer selling in his gourd? You're not a plainclothes officer, are you? Plainclothes officer? Su Yin spat. Which part of me looks like a police officer? Forget it. Since it's like this, I'll tell you the truth. Is there a customer with the surname Tai who often comes to look for you and patronizes your business? The two nodded very cooperatively. During the training, the boss said that he wouldn't do anything to them when he came in and would still pay them. There must be a trap. He definitely wasn't a normal customer. They had to be on guard. I know that person. I have a conflict with him. I don't want him to be happy. Su Yin. Do you understand now? The two nodded cooperatively again. At this moment, the brothel owner knocked on the door. Sir, sorry to disturb you. Su Yin scolded. What's the matter? Well, a customer just came. He directly asked for number 86 and number 88's service. I told him that they're here to serve you. But he said that if you're willing to change 2 girls or even 4, it's not a problem. As long as you give number 86 and number 88 to him, he'll pay for you. Tell him to get lost. I don't lack this money. Didn't I tell you that I like this kind of people? Su Yin was furious. Su Yin had done some research on psychology. When dealing with people in this kind of place, he had to be ruthless, bold, and tough. Otherwise, they would think that you were a pushover. Sure enough, after being scolded by Su Yin, the brothel owner quieted down and left quickly. However, Su Yin didn't stay quiet for more than 5 minutes. A waiter knocked on the door again. Hello, sir. Our manager has brought you some drinks. He apologizes for what happened just now. After getting Su Yin's permission, the waiter came in with the tea. Su Yin heard him whisper to number 88. Your regular customer is here. This customer won't let them in, so they went to the 3rd floor to watch the performance. Tell me immediately when the clock goes down. I'll inform the customer. Why didn't he leave after putting down the tea? Su Yin glared at him. The waiter hurriedly left. Number 86 and number 88 were very nervous. They really couldn't understand this customer. Su Yin pointed out the 2 girls first because he wanted to know if Tai Zhonghua was here or not. Now that Tai Zhonghua was here, it meant that Guo Chuanjiang must be here too. Since these 2 were here, Chen Yazhou should be here too. These 3 people could reach an agreement at any time. Su Yin had to stop them. What time does the performance on the 3rd floor start? Su Yin asked. Number 86 answered carefully. It has started now. Sir, if you want to watch the performance, you can return our clock. We can help you apply for a refund of our appearance fee. Really? But Su Yin said in a rich and imposing manner. I don't care about such a small amount of money. I want all of your services. If you want to make money, then take all of your services and stay here for 2 hours. If anyone dares to leave early, then don't blame me for complaining. After that, Su Yin got up and tidied up his loose bathrobe. Then, using the excuse of going downstairs to get cigarettes, he left the flesh room on the 4th floor and went directly upstairs to the 3rd floor. The third floor was indeed a performance hall. The stage was dazzling, and a vulgar two-people rotation was being performed. Below the stage, there were hundreds of seats neatly arranged. Many of them were 3 or 4 people sitting around a table. They were drinking tea and eating sunflower seeds, laughing as they watched the vulgar performance on the stage. Su Yun found an inconspicuous seat and sat down. His eyes quickly searched the crowd. Soon he saw Guo Chuanjiang's fat body. There were 2 people drinking tea and chatting with Guo Chuanjiang at the same table. One of them wore gold-rimmed glasses and looked very refined. His hairstyle and beard were very well trimmed. Obviously, he was a person with good taste. The man sitting between Guo Chuanjiang and the man with glasses looked much rougher. He did not care about his appearance when he drank tea. At first glance, he looked like a nouveau riche. Based on the behavior of these 2 people, Su Yun could basically judge that the gold-rimmed glasses must be the boss of Fengdao Real Estate, Chen Yazhou, and the nouveau riche between Chen Yazhou and Guo Chuanjiang must be the secretary of Quicksand Village, Tai Zhonghua. After the 2-people rotation performance on the stage, the host went on stage to start the lucky draw. The lucky draw was very simple. It was from 1 to 100 things. 100 things could turn the tables. 10 yuan could turn the tables. If there was a word behind it, then it was a win. The first prize was to be the groom for free. Chapter 468. Looking at the uninvited guest in front of him, large beads of sweat appeared on Guo Chuanjiang's forehead. Wasn't Su Yun's appearance too sudden? Could it be that Zhuo Meiyan really wanted to fall out with him? That wouldn't be good for Zhuo Meiyan. Guo Chuanjiang swallowed hard. If Zhuo Meiyan dared to let Su Yun make a move on him here, then she wouldn't be able to get this piece of land. If it involved violence, he would sue her to the end. Everyone would fight to the death. No one would be able to live more comfortably than the other. No one would be able to sleep peacefully. Zhuo Meiyan probably already thought of this, so she didn't make a move on Guo Chuanjiang. And now, Su Yun wouldn't care so much. Su Yun's special identity determined that he could use violence. It wasn't that no one cared about him, but he had a legitimate identity. And this identity was given to him by Qin Wan and Yi Fala. It should be known that Su Yun didn't only have Zhuo Meiyan behind him. There was also Xinjiang's Black Widow, as well as the famous Huaxia's anti-narcotics policewoman. Boss Guo, who is this? Chen Yazhou was able to go from a button business to a leather shoe business, and then from a leather shoe business to a real estate business. Naturally, he had his own unique abilities. When he saw Guo Chuanjiang's gaze on this stranger, he knew that the 2 knew each other. However, Chen Yazhou didn't think that Su Yun could be Zhuo Meiyan's man. He thought that Su Yun was like him, someone who had colluded with Guo Chuanjiang to steal the Quicksand Golden Shore. So his tone was somewhat unfriendly. As the big boss of Fengdao Real Estate Company Limited, how could he not have a temper? Su Yun was generous. He took the initiative to extend his hand. Fengdao's boss Chen, haha. Did I guess wrong? Chen Yazhou felt even more uncertain after hearing Su Yun's words. He passively reached out to shake hands with Su Yun, but unfortunately, Su Yun was already tired of waiting. When Chen Yazhou reached out his hand, he withdrew his friendly hand. Su Yun's action was a resounding slap to anyone's face. Chen Yazhou's face instantly changed color. This young man dared to do such a thing to him. He was definitely not a good person. Secretary Tai, nice to meet you. Su Yun no longer paid attention to Chen Yazhou and directly turned his eyes to Tai Zhonghua. After correctly guessing Chen Yazhou, Su Yun could be more certain that the person in front of him was definitely the party secretary of Quicksand Village. Nice to meet you. Tai Zhonghua froze for a moment, then looked at Guo Chuanjiang. Xiao Guo, this friend is... Why don't you introduce him to us? Don't keep us in suspense. Guo Chuanjiang's face swelled red, but because Su Yun was too fierce, he didn't dare to flare up. He could only lower his head and whisper into Su Yun's ear. Su Yun, you better not mess around. I've already stated my conditions. As long as Zhuo Meiyan meets my conditions, I guarantee that this land will still belong to Sky Entertainment. But if you want to play hard, don't blame me for fighting you to the death. Right now, the country can severely crack down on those who use violent means to buy land. If you don't want Sky Entertainment to get into trouble, then don't play that game with me. Su Yun's mouth slanted up, and his smile was cold and evil. Boss Guo, you seem to have forgotten one thing. I'm now in charge of Sky Entertainment. Let alone 500 million. Even if it's 500 yuan, if I don't agree, Zhuo Meiyan won't give it to you. Guo Chuanjiang suddenly felt a mouthful of blood rush to his head. Su Yun, playing hard with me is useless. Without waiting for Guo Chuanjiang to finish his sentence, Su Yun didn't even get up from his chair. Instead, he lifted his leg and slammed Guo Chuanjiang's fat face into the table. The teacups on the table all fell over with a crash. You say it's useless? Then let's see if it's useful. Su Yun's face was full of confidence. Guo Chuanjiang struggled in pain but couldn't move an inch. Su Yun's strength was far greater than Zhuo Meiyan's. Guo Chuanjiang was nothing in front of him. Seeing Guo Chuanjiang being pressed under the feet of this young man named Su Yun, Chen Yazhou's throat moved, and his face became weak. He was a businessman, a civilized businessman. But no matter how civilized a businessman was, if he didn't have connections with the underworld, then he wouldn't be able to do business this big. In the real estate business, one must have connections with the gods and cows. Su Yun was an expert, and Chen Yazhou could naturally tell. Tai Zhonghua's face also changed. He knew that this person didn't come with good intentions. Friend, you're doing this in public. Aren't you afraid that the police will invite you for tea? Secretary Tai, you must be joking. I just helped you order number 86 and 88. Both of them are still waiting for you in the private room upstairs. Su Yun smiled slightly. You're not afraid of the police inviting you for tea. Of course I'm not afraid. Tai Zhonghua snorted coldly. Young man, before you speak, you should be clear of your status. Even if the police are here now, I'm afraid they won't dare to invite me to the police station for tea. Ha ha ha, before you challenge me, why don't you look in the mirror? Su Yun shrugged. Oh, is that so? Secretary Tai, have you heard of the saying, extreme joy begets sorrow? Hee, before you said that sentence, why didn't you consider whether I'm a police officer or not? As soon as Su Yun said this, Tai Zhonghua's face turned red and white. It was not a normal color at all. If he was caught by the police with this identity of his, with the current severe punishment of the country's cadres, he would be in jail for 2 years, let alone continuing to be the village party secretary. Chen Yazhou was also afraid. His face turned the same color as a pig's liver. After all, he was also a person of status. If this spread out, how could he face others in the future? Moreover, a considerable part of his wealth was due to his wife. If his wife knew, it was very likely that he would be kicked out of the marriage with nothing. Then his life would be over. Don't be so nervous, I'm just saying it casually. The smile on Su Yun's face became more and more evil to the two. Mr. Chen, if you want to escape unscathed, I advise you to leave now. You can't get the land of quicksand golden shore. If you don't believe me, we can make a bet. If I lose, I'll give my life to you. If you lose, you just have to cut off 3 of my fingers. What do you say? Chen Yazhou's Adam's apple moved. He swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva. The ruthlessness between this guy's eyebrows made him uneasy. He couldn't help but feel his fingers go numb. He was afraid. The fear that came from the bottom of his heart could not be described with words. Su Yun narrowed his eyes and looked at him until Chen Yazhou panicked and avoided his gaze. Then he shifted his gaze to Tai Zhonghua. Secretary Tai, you know very well how much money Sky Entertainment Group spent on you for the land in your village. If you don't know, I can show you the bill. If you think that the money you took is not enough to get you sentenced to 10 or 8 years in jail, then you can sign the land to someone else. Let me give you a friendly reminder. Don't think that Fatty Gua is a good person. He bribed you, you bribed him, and he secretly recorded everything in order to control you. Guo Chuanjiang heard this and wanted to refute. However, Su Yun's heel nailed his face to the table. He stuttered and couldn't say anything. The atmosphere at the scene was chaotic because someone had won the first prize and would be the groom for free tonight. Guo Chuanjiang couldn't say anything. Tai Zhonghua's eyes were fixed on Guo Chuanjiang's body like a dead fish. Any trust built for benefits could be destroyed in an instant. At this moment, Guo Chuanjiang really wanted to explain that he really didn't do those things. He wanted Tai Zhonghua to not believe his nonsense. Tai Zhonghua didn't want their years of friendship to be damaged because of his testimony. He really didn't do anything that would harm their interests. Chen Yazhou also started to have other ideas. If the evidence of Tai Zhonghua accepting bribes was found, then he would definitely step down. At that time, Quicksand Village would change to a new party secretary. At that time, he could make the first move and get rid of the new party secretary. That would mean that the land was very likely to be his. Just as everyone was thinking about their own ulterior motives, the lights at the scene were suddenly turned on. All the guests were shocked into silence. Who wouldn't be afraid to come to a place like this? Even if they weren't caught in the act, it would still be awkward if the police came to crack down on prostitution. Sorry for the disturbance, everyone. All the tea today is on the house. It's on me. A young manager in a black suit smiled and said, "This is an emergency. I hope you can understand." Behind the young man in the black suit stood more than a dozen strong men. At first glance, it was obvious that each of them could fight. Behind these strong men stood a pair of twin girls. Su Yun looked at them. Weren't they number 86 and number 88? Could it be that they couldn't wait for him and couldn't endure the thirst? Just as Su Yun saw them, they also saw Su Yun. They pointed at him directly. "It's him. Manager, he's there." F***CK betraying me? Su Yun was speechless. He felt sorry for you when he saw you. Forget it. Now that things had come to this, he could only take one step at a time. The two girls followed the guidance of the head procuress. As long as the customer was willing to pay but didn't touch them, there must be a trap. No matter what kind of trap it was, they must find a way to inform the head procuress. Therefore, as soon as Su Yun left the room with the big bed on the 4th floor, the two girls ran out and told the head procuress what happened. The head procuress knew that there was a suspicious person in the shop. Without hesitation, he brought the two girls and a group of fighters out to identify and find the person. He wouldn't let something happen in the shop when he was on duty. If that happened, the boss would be mad at him. "Friend, since you're here to play, why are you so careless?" The young head procuress smiled and walked forward. "Is it your first time here? Don't you know the rules? You can't make trouble in the shop." Su Yun's foot was still pressing down on Guo Chuanjiang's face. He was still sitting on the chair according to the prescribed order. Beaming with smiles, he said, "You really guessed right. This is indeed the first time I came here to play. As the saying goes, the ignorant are innocent. I hope the manager will be magnanimous." "Haha." The head procuress sneered. "I've given you all the face. Now you take the initiative to leave with me. Or what do you want? You choose." As soon as the voice fell, the dozen fighters began to slowly approach Su Yun. Su Yun's face relaxed and smiled. "Manager, you said you'll let me choose, but in fact, you didn't give me a chance to choose." As he spoke, Su Yun suddenly kicked Chen Yazhou's butt and hooked his chair up. His ankle exerted force and directly threw the chair out. It fiercely smashed into the surrounding fighters. Chen Yazhou was completely at a loss. His butt fell to the ground. He was confused. He hurriedly rolled and crawled away from the fight scene. Tai Zhonghua also followed and ran. But he was kicked by Su Yun and fell to the ground. Chapter 469. Su Yun's move was indeed effective. The dozen or so thugs who were originally aggressive were instantly reduced by half. They were good at pinching soft persimmons, but when it came to dealing with real fierce people, these guys were still lacking. Those who dared to cause trouble in Brother Lei's place were definitely not good people. After all, in their hearts, they felt that no one didn't know that this place belonged to Brother Lei. "Kid, do you know whose place this is? You dare to cause trouble here? I think you're messing with the Tai Sui." When he saw that the person under Su Yun's foot was actually their VIP customer, Guo Chuanjiang, his eyes widened. "Let our customer go immediately, or I can report you to the police for endangering social order and public safety." Guo Chuanjiang often brought Tai Zhonghua here. Just in this bath center, they spent thousands or even tens of thousands of yuan every day. If it didn't add up to 1 million, it would be at least 800,000 yuan. The manager here naturally worshipped him like a god of wealth. How could he not be anxious when he saw his god of wealth being stepped on by a freak? If this god of wealth didn't come to the place to send money because of this, Wouldn't he lose a few thousand yuan of performance bonus every month? Who wouldn't go against money? Now that Su Yin was dealing with Guochuanjiang, it was equivalent to hindering the manager's source of income. It would be strange if he wasn't anxious. Su Yin sneered. Call the police? This is a chicken coop. You can report it to me. I haven't heard of any crime of endangering social order and public safety, but I heard that Article 358 of the criminal law says that if you organize others to sell or force others to sell, you'll be sentenced to more than 5 years and less than 10 years in prison. If it's serious, you'll be sentenced to more than 10 years in prison or life imprisonment. I know you're not the boss, but you're still a cadre. If you don't report what you know, it's equivalent to covering up a criminal. At least 5 years. The manager on duty didn't know anything about the law. When he heard Su Yun's words, his brain buzzed. He knew that this kid absolutely couldn't be let go. If he was let go, then they would be in big trouble. They had to catch him and bring him to Brother Lei. What are you all standing there for? Go. Did Big Brother Lei raise you guys for nothing? The manager on duty scolded, and the dozen or so thugs no longer pretended to be eager to fight. They directly swarmed over. They had Brother Lei's support in everything they did, so they were not afraid of getting into trouble. At most, they would kill someone and run away. Overconfidence would often cause people to lose completely. At least it was like this now. More than 10 thugs who originally thought that they could tear Su Yun into pieces were all lying on the ground in just 2 minutes. Some of them were holding their deformed arms with painful expressions, while others were holding their crotches with pale faces. Throughout the entire process, Su Yun didn't even get up. He sat on the chair the whole time, and his other foot never left Guochuanjiang's face. Guochuanjiang groaned under his foot, and his entire face began to deform. He could only use his hands to hold onto Su Yun's ankle, fearing that Su Yun would accidentally exert the wrong force during the fight and directly crush his head. Seeing that more than a dozen thugs were killed in a short time, the surrounding guests began to retreat. No one wanted to provoke such a fierce person. Who the hell are you? The manager on duty's tone was no longer so tough. Brother, if there's anything, can we talk it out? This is Brother Lei's place. You also know that Brother Lei is a loyal person. Everything can be discussed. Let's not fall out with each other. Su Yin smiled. It seems that you guys started it first, right? Haha, that's our fault. I'm also worried about my guests. The manager on duty looked at Guochuanjiang. Su Yin raised his eyebrows. I must take these 3 people away today. If you insist on keeping them, then don't blame me for not giving you face. I've said what I should say. Their expenses here, and my expenses here will not be less than a penny. You guys should obediently let them go and don't cause trouble for yourselves. Suddenly, a loud voice came from afar. My guests, if they don't want to leave, no one can take them away. The manager on duty was surprised and happy. He hurriedly followed the voice and greeted respectfully. Hello, Brother Lei. Trash. The newcomer sneered. No one would believe that this ordinary-looking man who was neither tall nor short, neither fat nor thin, was actually the man who could lead the entire underground forces in Xinjiang City, Shirlei. Shirlei slapped the manager on duty. The manager's face instantly swelled up, but he didn't dare to fart. He obediently retreated to the side. Shirlei strode in front of Su Yun, pulled over a chair, and sat down facing Su Yun. Speaking of which, Shirlei was definitely not a person to be trifled with. Just hearing about his deeds was enough to make ordinary people tremble in fear. Shirlei's family was quite well off now. His father was a landowner. In his hometown, a small county with a population of 600,000, he was definitely the richest person. His mother's family was a local business in Qingdao, dealing in cotton and linen textiles. They were definitely capitalists. In their heyday, their annual income was over 1 million taels of silver. Their family owned 5 seaside villas near the Jiang residence, where Chairman Jiang used to live. The people living in the area were either officials or rich. However, in that era, Shirlei's parents didn't come from good backgrounds. One was a landowner's son, and the other was a capitalist's daughter. Therefore, as soon as Shirlei could remember, he had a nickname that left a deep impression on him. He was called the landowner's son. Because of this nickname, Shirley's entire life underwent a huge change. Because his parents were well off and educated, they were busy with their careers and neglected to take care of Shirley. Shirley almost never felt any warmth from his parents. When he was in elementary school, his parents went to Yanjing because of some matters. He was alone without anyone to supervise him. In school, people bullied him, scolded him, and called him the landowner's son. He had the desire to chop off the heads of those who scolded him and kick them like a ball. However, because he couldn't reach the knife hanging on the wall when he was young, he could only grab a small fork to eat with and put it in his pocket. As long as a child dared to scold him, he wouldn't hesitate to take out the small fork and leave 3 holes in the child's face. Moreover, he didn't feel guilty about his actions since he was young. He felt that he should do what he did. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Let's see who would dare to bully him. As he grew older, Shirley became even more uncontrollable. The brothers who had played with him since he was young, to put it bluntly, none of them were not ruthless characters. It was really like the saying, fish look for fish, shrimp look for shrimp, and turtles look for turtles. However, Shirley didn't become like this at that time. The catalyst for his great underground career in Xinjiang was due to a frame-up. Back then, he was working as a security guard in a machinery factory with a salary of 300 yuan a month. When he was on the night shift, the security guard's woman came, saying that she was looking for her man. Shirley said that the man wasn't here. In the end, the woman started to take off her clothes and seduce him. How could a young and energetic man resist this kind of temptation? Shirley didn't think much, and wanted to take advantage of the situation to do the woman. Just as he slept with the woman, the security guard suddenly came out to catch them in the act. Shirley was beaten up and forced to pay 10,000 yuan in compensation. Feeling that he was in the wrong, Shirley admitted defeat. After all, he slept with the security guard's woman. Fortunately, Shirley had a lot of friends, and they were all youths in society who did things like stealing. However, 10,000 yuan was definitely not a small amount in that era. Although it was not an astronomical figure, it was definitely easier to gather 200,000 or 300,000 yuan in this era. After gathering 10,000 yuan, Shirley paid the compensation. He thought that nothing would happen from then on. However, one time when he went to the toilet, he heard the old employees in the factory muttering that he, Shirley, was tricked by the security guard couple. The security guard captain and his wife were not good people. His wife was a slut, and the security guard captain was even more despicable. He used his wife to seduce the new employees in the factory, and then blackmail them for money. This was already the umpteenth time. Shirley knew that he was being played. The ruthlessness in his heart was aroused. That night, he led his dozen brothers to do the first evil thing in his life. They beat the security guard captain until he was crippled. After doing this, Shirley ran away for a year. When he came back, his reputation was already very famous. Many punks came to find him and wanted to work for him. In this way, Shirley began to form gangs. In the beginning, he looked for thieves or gangsters to collect protection money. Later, all the thieves and gangsters followed him. He started to collect money in the nightclubs in the entertainment centers. Until now, 80% of the nightclubs in the entire Koto city were under his jurisdiction. It was only a dozen years, but he was able to achieve this by not only relying on a pair of iron fists, but also courage and loyalty. Shirley's business had many customers because of his loyalty. Those who came to his place to play and spend money were his friends. He would never allow others to touch his friends. "Brother, I know you're good at fighting, but I'll just say one sentence and let my guests go." After Shirley sat down, he took out his gun without saying anything. You can ask around in the entire Koto city. I, Shirley, am a man of my word. Either you let my guests go, apologize and get out of here, or you leave your life here. Su Yin still didn't move. He said calmly, "Then it's not easy. You're a man of your word, and I'm also a man of my word. You asked me to let them go, but I'm taking them away today. Then between the two of us, there must be one who has to say one and take two." Shirley looked at the young man in front of him in surprise. He really couldn't believe that this young man dared to talk to him like this. He was holding a shiny black Star pistol in his hand, and the distance between them was at most 5 meters. He only needed to raise his head and lightly press the trigger, and everything would be over. Shirley had done so many things in his life, and had seen so many fierce people. But the most courageous one was the young man in front of him. Faced with an answer that he had never heard in his life, Shirley was really speechless for a moment. Chapter 470. The gears of time were slowed down as if they had been chained by a hoop spell. Shirley's forehead began to sweat. As a hero of the generation in Qingdao City, as an outstanding young man who had replaced the old men of the previous generation, Shirley could not help but admit defeat in the confrontation of gazes. He sensed a special aura from the man in front of him. This was definitely not the first time Shirley felt this kind of aura. The first person who gave him this kind of feeling was a man named Xie Fei's, refer to ambiguous killer for details. The faint aura emitted from their bodies made people feel suffocated. Shirley was able to get to where he was today not only because of his boiling black blood. It was all because of his experience. Because Kodo Island had the largest port in North China, there were many businessmen from Japan and Korea. Therefore, some countries set up embassies to manage this place. Once, a staff member of the Japanese embassy bullied a young lady in Shirley's place. In a fit of anger, Shirley brought people to smash the Japanese embassy. Fortunately, he was recognized by Xie Fei's, so Xie Fei's used his connections to help him solve the problem. With the help of Shen Baowen and the Yen sisters, who were absolute goddesses and strong women, Shirley's matter was settled with just a few words. Since then, Shirley only obeyed Xie Fei's. If Xie Fei's hadn't left Kodo Island, this place would definitely not be Shirley's world. "Brother, what do you do?" Shirley's tone had started to soften. He just wanted to test him. If this person was really the same as Master Xie, then even if he had 180 times the courage, he wouldn't dare to act recklessly. After so many years of entrenching himself in Kodo Island with a solid foundation, he hadn't been defeated by anyone. It was enough to prove how good he was at dealing with people. Su Yun thought for a while and said with a smile, "Let's put it this way. Have you heard about the huge heroin smuggling case that Xinjiang cracked a few days ago? In your line of work, it's impossible not to pay attention to this kind of news. If you investigate it closely, you should be more careful and pay attention." Shirley's face was solemn. "You mean the case of Xinjiang's Black Widow Yi Fala? I have indeed heard of this before, but I can guarantee that although I, Shirley, am not doing any shady business, at least it is based on mutual consent. The young ladies who work for me are all willing. I will definitely not use drugs to control the young ladies. Moreover, I once swore that no matter what kind of atrocities I did, I would never touch that thing. Everyone on the Zither Island knows this. Whoever dares to touch that thing on the Zither Island is going against me, Shirley. Anyone who goes against me, I dare to shoot him dead. But I won't use that to harm innocent people to make a fortune. I don't want that kind of money, and I don't want it." Su Yun clapped his hands and praised. "Good, well said. Then do you know that the person under my feet is Yefala's old business partner? You should know what I mean. What business was he in?" Shirley was clearly enraged. Guo Chuanjiang mumbled a couple of times under Su Yun's feet. He had never seen Yi Fala before. Since when did he do business with Yi Fala? He wanted to refute, but Su Yun's foot was firmly on the ground, and he couldn't say a word. Damn it. Shirley's mouth twitched. He obviously couldn't accept people like Guo Chuanjiang. But then he thought, why did he believe what others said? Why did he believe Su Yun? "Brother, don't blame me for being suspicious. With your courage, I can conclude that you are not a police person." Su Yun nodded and didn't deny it. "To be able to open such a big business in Xinjiang, I can also conclude that you are not a rookie in the underworld. You should know that the underworld is not so easy to survive. There are all kinds of people. Boss, I don't want to cause trouble for you, but the premise is that you don't cause trouble for me. Then do you know a person with the code name Q?" Shirley's expression became nervous. Su Yun was obviously stunned. She looked at Shirley in shock and said, "Boss, can the two of us find a quiet place to talk?" Shirley's heart inexplicably surged. He immediately ordered his men to arrest Guo Chuanjiang, Chen Yazhou, and the secretary of Quicksand Village, Tai Zhonghua. At this moment, Shirley no longer treated Su Yin as an outsider. Just as Shirley's men were about to make a move, Tai Zhonghua angrily cursed. Let's see who dares to touch me. Shirley, do you know who I am? You dare to touch me? I am the secretary of Quicksand Village. If you dare to touch me, do you believe that I will immediately call the police to investigate you? You are just a gangster who runs a chicken coop. You dare to show off your authority in front of me? I think you must have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall. Shirley's face sank. He sneered. Oh, Quicksand Village's Secretary Tai, right? Let me King tell you. Chief Wang of the police station is my sworn brother. And not only Chief Wang, but also Chief Guo of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, Chief Liu of the Discipline Inspection and Supervision Bureau, and Chief Zhang of the Procuratorate. They are all my King sworn brothers. You can find one of them and try. Come, find Director Wang. I will ask someone to dial the number for you. You can ask him to investigate me. You are just a village secretary. What are you in front of me? You dare to bluff with me? I will teach you how to write the word death later. Tai Zhonghua was angry, but he didn't dare to say anything. He knew that Shirley was powerful in Qingdao, but he didn't expect this guy to be so arrogant. He dared to be so unscrupulous. Although he kept telling himself that Shirley's words were just bragging, he couldn't convince himself in the end. He didn't dare to confront Shirley, who had so many sworn brothers. Boss sure, don't be like this. Let's talk nicely. Chen Yazhou was so nervous that his face was full of sweat. His glasses slipped off the bridge of his nose again and again. He pushed them up with his index finger again and again. I am Chen Yazhou of Fangda Group. I think we will have a chance to cooperate. There must be a misunderstanding between this friend and Director Guo. Let's talk nicely. Shirley snorted. Director Chen of Fangda Group. Oh, I thought Director Chen was at least 20 or 30 years older than me. I didn't expect Director Chen to look only 40 years old. Young and promising, young and promising. CEO Chen, if CEO Guo wasn't involved in that thing today, I would have taken you as my brother. Unfortunately, I, Shirley, will never make friends with a grandson who touches that thing. Since you are friends with CEO Guo and Secretary Tai, then an enemy's friend is an enemy. Don't tell me you don't understand this simple logic. After all, Chen Yazhou was alone. He was unfamiliar with Qingdao, so he didn't dare to be rude to a local snake like Shirley. Boss sure, let me explain. I'm really not familiar with them. They asked me to talk about the land of Quicksand Golden Shore. That's why I came. I'm definitely not friends with them. If I knew that Secretary Tai and Director Guo were such people, I would never come here to talk about business with them. This grandson, he was adding insult to injury. Tai Zhonghua and Guo Chuanjiang were so angry that smoke was coming out of their hearts. 10 minutes ago, for that piece of land, this son of a B*TCH lowered himself to serve tea. Now he turned hostile. Director Chen, I like people who are loyal. Shirley said. I hate people who turn hostile faster than flipping a book. Chen Yazhou's face changed. This person was talking about him. Shirley continued. However, I'll give you face. After all, you're a guest from afar. If you don't want to get involved in this matter, then I won't send you off. Take care. Chen Yazhou, who received the special pardon, hurriedly bowed and thanked him. He couldn't stay in this hooligan's nest for another minute. He would rather not deal with the Qingdao matter than stay in this place and suffer grievances. If he knew that Guo Chuanjiang was so unreliable and even touched the white powder, he wouldn't have cooperated with him even if he was beaten to death. Maybe one day, he would be dragged into the water. It would be troublesome if he was implicated. After Guo Chuanjiang was pressed to the ground by Shirley's underlings, he didn't forget to explain, Su Yin, you've wronged me. I've never been in contact with Yi Fala. Don't talk nonsense without evidence. You have to be responsible for your words. Su Yin smiled slightly. Don't worry, I won't let you down. Brother Su Yin, please. Shirley made an inviting gesture to Su Yin, and then brought Su Yin directly to his office. Soon someone brought tea to the room. Shirley waved his hand and signaled for everyone to leave. Su Yin took a sip of tea and said lightly, Boss sure, the Q you mentioned to me just now, is his surname Xie. Shirley was so excited that he suddenly stood up from his chair. Brother Su Yin. Oh no, Grandpa Su. You really know Grandpa Xie? Su Yin looked at Shirley's excited expression and couldn't help but frown. Boss, sure. Now I'm basically sure that we're talking about the same person. However, I can see from your expression that you must have a good relationship with him. But you can't be sure if I'm his friend. What if I'm his enemy? I'm afraid you're already dead. Shirley became nervous after hearing Su Yin's words. He stretched his hand to the gun on his waist. If I'm not your friend but your enemy, it's too late for you to take out your gun now. Su Yin continued. Since I didn't do anything to you, it means that I'm not your enemy. Not only that, old Xie and I are brothers who have gone through life and death together. Shirley instantly heaved a sigh of relief. Oh, Grandpa Su, you really scared me to death. You're really brothers with Grandpa Xie. Oh, that's great. Su Yin smiled and nodded. Although he and Xie Fei's were not on the same page, Xie Fei's was a rare type of assassin. He wasn't a killing machine who only killed for money. He had his own principles and beliefs, just like the leader of the Wolf Fang mercenary group, Yi Qian. Xie Fei's had helped Su Yin for no reason before. So Su Yin said that they were brothers who had gone through life and death together. Although he didn't know Xie Fei's identity at that time, and didn't contact him after knowing his identity. What's your relationship with old Xie? Su Yin was also curious. You'd better not mention the name Q. I'm afraid you'll get into trouble that you can't solve. Shirley laughed. I'm where I am today because of Grandpa Xie. Grandpa Su, I felt the same feeling as Grandpa Xie, so that's why I couldn't help but ask. I really didn't expect to meet Grandpa Xie's friend. Ha ha ha, Grandpa Su, in the future on Guqin Island, if you need anything, just say the word, and I'll do it without hesitation. Chapter 471. Su Yin approved of Shirley. Although Shirley was a gangster who opened a casino and ran a chicken coop, he relied on his ability to make a living. He never bullied honest people. If he wanted to do something, he would do it to the scum in his industry. In Shirley's words, he felt that only by doing evil could he find the thrill of the black blood boiling. He looked down on people who bullied ordinary people with a machete the most. Therefore, he could be regarded as punishing evil and promoting good, revealing a sense of justice on behalf of heaven like a hero of the Liangshan. If it was said that Shirley had no relationship with Xie Fei's, Su Yin would not believe him so easily. After all, he was the head of the underworld. But now it was different. He could take advantage of Shirley's interpersonal relationships and power in Guqin Island to get the land of quicksand golden shore. Even if he owed Xie Fei's a favor, it would not be too late to pay him back when he had the chance. As for Guo Chuanjiang's matter, Su Yin did not explain further, and Shirley did not ask further. In his eyes, Master Xie's friend was Shirley's friend. If Master Xie had not helped him back then, and found an unlucky gambler to take the blame, he would probably still be in prison. Putting aside the fact that he was able to achieve his ambition, whether or not he could get out of prison in this lifetime would be a huge headache. Boss, sure, since you said so, I really do have something to ask you for help. Su Yin smiled. You are a person of scene. I am also a straightforward person, so I will not beat around the bush. Don't think that I am too honest and really want to trouble you. Overwhelmed by the favor, Shirley said. Su Yi, please don't call me Lao Ban Shi. Lao Ban Shi. You can also call me Shirtu. You can also call me Lazy. If you feel that I have enough I Qi, that I am worthy to be your friend, then don't beat around the bush with me. If you have something to say, just say it, whatever it is, as long as I can do it, no matter how big the price, I will definitely help. If I say that I can't do it, then I can only hope that Master Su doesn't mind. I only have this little ability. I can only meddle in Qingdao's local affairs, such as going to the moon or landing on Mars. Even if you force me, I can't promise you that I can't do it. Bosher was too good at telling jokes. If you really want me to call you Stone, then don't call me Grandpa Su. Su Yun. You're making me embarrassed to ask. Don't, please don't. Master Su, you and Master Xie are brothers. In my eyes it's fate. Shirley said. Then I don't care what you call me. In any case, I must call you Su Yi. If you have something you don't open your mouth, that means you are looking down on me, Shirley. then I can only tell myself that I am not worthy to be Su Ye's brother. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. This Shirley really knew how to talk. Boss, sure, I won't be polite then. I'll be frank. I want the land at Quicksand Golden Shore in Zither Island, but that place is Tai Zhonghua's territory and has the most direct influence on the matter. Everyone's offer is about the same. Whoever can give the villagers better conditions will have an advantage. But those who want that land can offer similar conditions. It depends on what Tai Zhonghua says. Shirley immediately made a decision. Don't worry, Grandpa Su. Leave it to me. I will find someone to put pressure on Tai Zhonghua. Leave it all to me. But Grandpa Su, what do you want to do with that land? To make the world's largest film and television plaza, Sky Entertainment Plaza. Su Yin smiled. To create the Hollywood of the East. Oh my God, this ambition is awesome. Shirley was so shocked that he was prostrating himself on the ground. His eyes widened in surprise. Grandpa Su's Sky Entertainment Group is yours, mine. Since Su Yin had decided to take on this responsibility, of course he had to shoulder the future of Sky Entertainment. In the past, if anyone asked him, he would definitely say that Sky Entertainment had nothing to do with him. But now it was different. He had promised to shoulder the future of Sky Entertainment Group. He had to be brave enough to admit that this responsibility was his. Grandpa Su admired. What else could Shirley say? In the end, Tai Zhonghua was released and Guo Chuanjiang was brought to Zhuo Meiyan by Su Yun. Zhuo Yiming stepped forward and kicked Guo Chuanjiang's knee. Guo Chuanjiang knelt down with a thud. Everything that had happened today was like a dream. Even now, Guo Chuanjiang still felt like he was in a trance. He couldn't believe that this was real. Zhuo Meiyan looked at Guo Chuanjiang's depressed face and snorted coldly. Guo Chuanjiang, do you think that I can't find you if you hide in Qingdao? I knew you were staying at Donghai Hotel a long time ago. I just didn't want to kill you. I always thought that you wouldn't dare to destroy Zhang Taisui's last wish. No matter how bad you are, you wouldn't disrespect Zhang Taisui. But now it seems that I was wrong. If Su Yun hadn't intervened today, I'm afraid that Zhang Taisui's last wish would have been destroyed. Guo Chuanjiang, you are a bad person. The word ungrateful is tailor-made for you. Guo Chuanjiang was expressionless. President Zhuo, I admit that I'm a bad person. I admit that I'm ungrateful. But didn't you force me to do all this? If you really gave me the power, would I still do such a thing? I'm afraid that you'll devour Zhang Taisui's everything. If I'm ungrateful, then what about you? His mouth was full of nonsense. Zhuo Meiyan was completely disappointed by this unreasonable person. Guo Chuanjiang, I'm not like you. I gathered all the power in my hands so that I could better hand over the Sky Entertainment Group to Su Yun. But what about you? Did you think that I didn't notice the shady business between you, Qin Tianjian and Zhou Bucheng? Indeed, it's my fault that I entrusted you with the construction of the film and television square. But don't think that it's because I trust you that I entrusted you with the construction of the film and television square. It's because I don't think you dare to take Zhang Taisui's last wish as a joke. I didn't expect that I was wrong. Not only are you ungrateful, you're also a heartless and unscrupulous person. Guo Chuanjiang was scolded badly, but he didn't have much of a reaction. But when he heard some of the words, he would laugh crazily. I should be grateful to Zhang Taisui, but I don't think I can live for a dead person. Guo Chuanjiang suddenly raised his voice. But what he got in return was Su Yun's heavy slap on his face. Guo Chuanjiang's whole body flew out and hit the wall. President Guo, I'm afraid that you've forgotten your old profession. Do you remember what I said? I can make you lose everything. As long as Yi Fala admits that you had business dealings with her, I can make up a big number, and you can only spend the rest of your life in prison. When Su Yun said this for the first time, Guo Chuanjiang didn't believe it. But this time Su Yun said it again. He really didn't think it was a joke. I'll give you a choice now. You can give all your property back to Sky Entertainment, and I'll leave you 3,000 yuan. It's enough for you to do your old profession, build a shed, make a few tables, and sell knife-cut noodles. You don't have to worry about the city management arresting you every day or punishing you. Sky Entertainment Group will make a special place for you. Su Yun said very calmly. The other choice is to go to prison and make handicrafts and eat prison food for the rest of your life. I advise you not to think that I can't do it. I've always been a man of my words. If you don't believe me, then I'll tell you today. Tomorrow, I'll definitely get the land sale contract for Quicksand Gold Coast. You can wait and see if I can do it. Guo Chuanjiang stared at Su Yun. This kind of slap in the face made him feel extremely depressed. He told himself 100 times that it was impossible, but he couldn't convince himself to believe it. Brother-in-law, are we really going to detain people in private today? This is against the country's laws. Zhuo Yiming chuckled. Su Yun was speechless. This kid said it as if he was a law-abiding person. He had already completely ignored Zhuo Yiming calling him brother-in-law. Don't worry. Detaining people is against the law, but it doesn't matter to me. Since I said that I can send Mr. Guo to prison, it means that I have a relationship with the police. Don't make me say it so bluntly. That way, Mr. Guo won't be too conflicted when he makes his choice. Zhuo Yiming nodded in realization. They all knew that Yi Fala's case was definitely related to Su Yun. Su Yun had a misunderstanding with Zhuo Meiyan because he was too close to Yi Fala. Moreover, with the police's ability, it was impossible for them to deal with Yi Fala. After all, Yi Fala was caught in the Golden Triangle, so Su Yun must have done something. Zhuo Meiyan was sure of this. But now Zhuo Meiyan was still surprised. How could Su Yun cooperate with the police and be an undercover informant for the police? Didn't he always hate the police the most? Take him away. I have something to say to Su Yun alone. Zhuo Meiyan said to her brother. Zhuo Yiming nodded understandingly, then picked up Guo Chuanjiang. A fatty who weighed more than 200 pounds was like a chick in his hand. He was indeed a natural-born king of strength. Zhuo Meiyan shook her head helplessly. She sighed in her heart. If this kid had used half of the time he spent playing with cars and picking up girls on cultivation, he would have broken through the realm of a supermaster. Soon, only Su Yun and Zhuo Meiyan were left in the room. Zhuo Meiyan didn't say anything. She walked straight to Su Yun and hugged Su Yun tightly. She really needed a hug from Su Yun. Su Yun hadn't come for so many days, and Zhuo Meiyan had suffered all kinds of torment. She originally thought that the Film and Television Plaza project would really fly away like a cooked duck. Su Yun's appearance changed everything. This man who had single-handedly taken on a desperate situation would always be the most special existence in Zhuo Meiyan's heart. She really wanted to snuggle in this man's arms like a little woman. To be this man's strong support and the warmest harbor. Zhuo Meiyan already knew about the existence of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel in Hudong City. She wouldn't blame Su Yun for having other warm harbors. She only hoped that she could be the one who could give Su Yun the most warmth among these harbors. Obviously, she still didn't know that the warm harbor in Hudong City had been transferred to Xinjiang. Now that you're here, I feel a lot more relaxed. Zhuo Meiyan said lightly. Can you never leave again? I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay by my side forever. Is that okay? Chapter 472. When men and women collide, they produce a very subtle thing called hormones. In scientific terms, it was a trace chemical substance produced by the endocrine organ, released into the blood circulation, and transported to the target organ or tissue to exert a certain effect. Each endocrine gland is capable of producing one or more types of hormones. When Su Yun felt that he was a little hot, he knew that it was his adrenaline acting up again. At this time, Zhuo Meiyan had begun to feel hot all over. Her ears were almost red, so one could imagine how hot her body was now. Su Yun took a deep breath. His mind was blank. It was said that a man and a woman alone together were like dry firewood and a raging fire. It was impossible to not catch fire when placed together. Especially in today's society, if a man and a woman alone together in a room, if you asked 100 people, 100 people would say that something must have happened. They would say that pure friendship between a man and a woman was nonsense. What confidant and confidant? They were all dignified shields. Many girlfriends would warn each other that they could not let their boyfriends have confidants, because if they were red, they would be ruined. Many buddies would also remind each other that they could not let their girlfriends have confidants, because if they were blue, they would be ruined. This was not a joke. It was a variation of the 100% chance of sex between a man and a woman in the same room. Obviously, Su-yin had broken this 100% probability many times, and now he could clearly feel that his position was becoming less and less firm. There were many times when he had a kind of impulsiveness. In the beginning, Su-yin kept telling himself that he must restrain himself. Now as time passed, his state of mind began to stir. His heart, which used to take the initiative to restrain himself, had been unconsciously worn away. Especially after returning from this trip to the Golden Triangle, Su-yin always felt that his self-control was far worse than before. A few days ago, in the room of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel in Hudong City, if Guogua had not suddenly broken in, he really did not know if he had done something to Ruan Qingshuang. At this moment, he also began to realize that his mind was beginning to wander. If an elegant dance song was played now, perhaps Su-yin would take the initiative to make a move. Zhou Meiyan's rapid breathing began to stir Su-yin's heart slightly. Su-yin insisted again and finally he could not continue to resist. He could not help but hug Zhou Meiyan tightly. The moment his lower lips touched Zhou Meiyan's earlobe, Zhou Meiyan only felt her legs go soft. Her whole body was paralyzed in Su-yin's arms. She could not stand it anymore. In an instant, Su-yin's mind could no longer control his emotions. When he picked up Zhou Meiyan, he had already realized that he was irrational. When he continued to throw Zhou Meiyan on the bed, and even used a slightly forceful method to tear open the buttons on Zhou Meiyan's collar, he knew that he could no longer stop. The palpitating heartbeat was hard to control. This kind of instinctive attraction between the opposite sex made the two unable to stop. However, the moment before Su-yin was about to punish Zhou Meiyan on the spot, Su-yin clearly felt his heart thump violently. This kind of violent thump meant that his state of mind was loosening. Suddenly, Su-yin realized a problem. He had been cultivating the virgin technique for many years. It had always been the foundation of his cultivation and mental state to quickly improve. If the virgin technique was broken, it meant that Su-yin was not prepared for a world. However, at this moment, Su-yin's vision turned black. Everything that happened next was lost. When he opened his eyes again, Su-yin was still lying on the bed. However, the person in front of him was no longer Zhou Meiyan. Instead, it was Zhou Yiming. This brat actually ignored the unconscious patient's condition and leisurely sat on the sofa, smoking a cigarette. "Brother-in-law, you're finally awake. Not bad. You slept for a whole night and a whole day. If I didn't find a doctor to take a look at you, I would have thought that something big had happened to you." Zhou Yiming put out the cigarette in his hand. "It couldn't be that you and my sister had a passionate scene last night, right? Brother-in-law, it didn't have to be that intense, right? You even knocked me out? You're working too hard." Su-yin was speechless. This brat's mouth was really too much. "Zhou Yiming, if your sister heard this, would she seal your mouth or cut your tongue?" "Hee brother-in-law, if you don't say it, and I don't say it, no one will know what I said." Zhou Yiming raised his eyebrows and said proudly, "We're all adults, and I'm not from the previous generation who is so conservative. I also know that there are needs between men and women. Look at my sister, no man dares to touch her. I can only count on you, brother-in-law, to help her relieve the side effects of loneliness and emptiness. You don't know, I even suspect that my sister's menopause is coming early. If there's no man to nourish her, my life will be even more difficult in the future." What the hell was he talking about? Su-yin completely didn't understand what this brat wanted to communicate with him. "Where's your sister?" Zhou Yiming gave Su-yin a thumbs up. "Brother-in-law, you're really awesome. I can't help but admire you. My sister went to sign the contract. Didn't you tell Pig Gui yesterday that you must get the land sale contract of Quicksand Golden Shore today? Last night, you passed out, which made all of us think that it was impossible for you to get the contract. Unexpectedly, at noon today, Shirley, the boss of Four Rock Group in Qingdao, brought people to find you. He said that he wanted to take you to see Tai Zhonghua to deal with the land sale of Quicksand Golden Shore. You were in a coma, but this matter is equally important, so my sister asked me to look after you, and then she went to deal with the land sale contract." Su-yin was also very surprised. He had been in a coma for a day, but this matter was already dealt with. "It's done?" About half an hour ago, he called and said that the matter was done, and the contract was signed. Zhuo Yeming said. But my sister can't come back now, so she still has to do the necessary etiquette. Now she's inviting the leaders involved in this matter to dinner. Brother-in-law, I wonder why Shirley, such an arrogant person, is so obedient to you. When he heard that you were in a coma, he almost cried for your funeral. I didn't know he was so arrogant. Just now, my sister said that Shirley almost invited the leaders of Qingdao City for this matter. Now I know that guy is really not simple. Su Yin shook his head helplessly. Okay, I'm fine. You go do your thing. I'm a little hungry. Let's go out and eat something. Zhuo Yeming also shook his head. The main thing is that I'm not busy. My task is to look after you. Now that you're awake and hungry, I'm hungry too. Let's go out and drink something? I've been guarding you here for several hours. You should at least treat me to something good, right? You're going to eat with me? What about Guochuanjiang? You won't let him go, will you? Su Yin was stunned. Zhuo Yeming waved his hand. Of course not. Letting him go would be too easy for him. Haha, when you're in a coma, no one has time to care about him. He's tied up in my room. He hasn't eaten anything for a day. I don't know if he's starving to death. Su Yin smiled faintly and thought to herself. With Guochuanjiang's fat body, let alone a day, even if he didn't eat for 3 days, he wouldn't starve to death. What do you want to eat, brother-in-law? Zhuo Yeming asked shamelessly. Su Yin thought for a while. Since we're in Qingdao, let's eat some Qingdao specialties. Spicy fried clams, seaweed starch jelly, Spanish mackerel dumplings, 3 delicacies pot stickers, seafood braised noodles. What do you think? Let's find a place to eat these and have some draft beer. Zhuo Yeming smiled bitterly. Brother-in-law, you're really imaginative. In this season, where are you going to drink draft beer? The new year is in a month or 2. Drinking draft beer on such a cold day. You're really imaginative. There might not be draft beer in other places, but this was Qingdao. There was no shortage of draft beer all year round. Su Yin smiled. What do you think? If you dare to drink, come with me. Today I won't drink anything else but draft beer. If you don't dare to drink, then just stay here and watch Guochuanjiang. After I'm full, I'll pack a bowl of chicken soup for you. Zhuo Yeming was provoked by Su Yin and stood up directly. Let's drink. Why don't you drink? You must drink. It's just beer. Who's afraid of you? For caddies of beer, right? Today, either of us can't come back if we don't drink 3 or 5 bottles of beer. Let's go. Drink with me by the bucket if you dare. Su Yun's heroic spirit was also aroused. The two of them left the hotel on foot and found a Qingdao specialty restaurant not far from where they lived. They ordered everything they wanted to eat. 8 dishes filled a small table. They ordered a 40 caddy barrel of draft beer for 200 renminbi. Then they started to compete with each other with big glasses. What happened last night was a mess in Su Yun's mind. Zhuo Meiyan's hot body and snow-white breasts. If it weren't for the cold draft beer, Su Yun really didn't know how to calm himself down. Soon half of the bucket was gone. Zhuo Yeming, who was full of heroic spirit at the beginning, couldn't take it anymore. This thing was too stimulating. Even the locals of Qingdao wouldn't be able to stand drinking cold draft beer in this weather. When the two were full and strolling back to the hotel, they coincidentally bumped into Zhuo Meiyan and the others who were driving back. Zhuo Meiyan and Feng Ying weren't the only ones in the car. Wu Yuandong was driving and Wang Zhe was sitting in the front passenger seat. Obviously, Wang Zhe was there to help Zhuo Meiyan drink. Behind Zhuo Meiyan's car was a black BMW X6. This BMW wasn't as particular as Wu Yuandong. It didn't have to find a parking space, so it stopped directly at the entrance of the hotel. A figure jumped out and rushed to Su Yin. Grandpa Su, you're awake. You scared me to death. I just called one of my brothers. His father is the director of the municipal hospital. I wanted him to help me find a specialist to visit you. Su Yin smiled gratefully. Shirley was really straightforward. The security guards at the entrance of the hotel wanted to stop them, but when they saw the serial number plate with 5 nines, they all stopped. There was only one BMW X6 with 5 nines in Qingdao City. Although this car was worth more than 2 million yuan, it was still Shirley's car. The security guards didn't dare to say anything. Even if the boss came, he wouldn't dare to fart, let alone the security guards. But Su Yin had worked in a hotel before, so he knew it wasn't good to block people's door. He waved his hand and said, "Drive the car aside. Don't block people's door." Chapter 473. At this time, Zhuo Meiyan and the others had already gotten out of the car and quickly walked toward Su Yun. Seeing that Su Yun was awake, Wu Yuandong and Wang Zhe were very excited. They had been very worried before. Feng Ying's face also showed a trace of a relaxed smile. If something had happened to this kid, she really didn't know how to deal with it. Zhuo Yeming proudly waited for his sister's praise. After all, Su Yun woke up when he was alone. Even if he didn't do anything and just squatted there and watched, his contribution couldn't be ignored and deserved a reward. Who would have thought that Zhuo Yeming wouldn't receive a reward, but rather a scolding? Zhuo Meiyan could smell the scent of alcohol coming from their bodies as soon as she got close. The malt aroma of beer was quite strong. Zhuo Yeming, was your brain damaged by a door or kicked by a donkey? Su Yun's body just recovered, and you actually took him to drink? Are you crazy? If you want to drink, drink by yourself. No one cares. Why did you take Su Yun with you? Zhuo Yeming felt wronged in his heart. I didn't. This wasn't called by me. He called me. What does this have to do with me? Sister, you can't accuse people like this. I'm the victim. I didn't want to drink. Su Yun smiled awkwardly. After sleeping for a day and a night, I'm a little tired. That's why I asked Yeming to drink with me. He only drank a little. Really, he didn't drink too much. We're fine. He's already an adult. Don't criticize him in front of so many people in the future. Everyone wants to save face. Zhuo Meiyan glared at Zhuo Yeming. Today, Su Yun pleaded for you. Otherwise, you'll see how I'll deal with you. Fine. I'm really unlucky. Zhuo Yeming shook his head helplessly. I'm obviously an accomplice. I was instigated. But when it comes to my sister's mouth, I'm the main culprit. I can't live like this anymore. At this time, Shirley also parked the car and quickly came in front of everyone. Grandpa Su, tell me quickly, what's going on? Su Yun smiled. Don't talk about me. I'm just a little tired. Zhuo Yeming muttered in a low voice. I really didn't know that my sister's needs were so high. She could even tire out a master to the point of fainting. Although Zhuo Yeming's voice was low, Wang Zhe and Wu Yuandong, who were also experts, couldn't help but snicker. Of course, Zhuo Meiyan naturally heard it. As soon as Zhuo Yeming finished speaking, the back of his head was slapped by Zhuo Meiyan, and he no longer dared to make a sound. Su Yun was still talking to Shirley. I really want to know how you managed to get the land contracts signed so quickly. Mr. Shi, you're really something. To be able to meet you in Qingdao, this trip is really worth it. Grandpa Su, you think too highly of me. I'm lucky enough to meet Mr. Xie and you. I'm really lucky. Shirley straightforwardly said. Xiongdi still say the same thing. As long as it's the Guqin Islands matter, just say the word. I will definitely help Su Yi handle it properly. I don't dare to boast about other things, but in this Guqin Island, big and small leaders, all give me, Shirley, a little bit of face. Zhuo Meiyan couldn't help sighing with emotion. Mr. Shi is definitely a big shot in Qingdao. With just a few phone calls and a few words from you, so many people came out to put pressure on Tai Zhonghua. I really admire you. Shirley also flattered her. Mr. Zhua, you're too serious. You're the real hero among women. You're a strong woman who's not inferior to men. I used to think that there's no such thing as a strong woman in this world, but Mr. Zhua made me realize that I'm really a frog at the bottom of the well. I only see the things on Qingdao, but I don't see that there's always someone better. They chatted as they walked back to the hotel room. Zhuo Meiyan handed the land contract to Su Yun. We can start the exploration and construction soon. I thought this thing would drag on for a long time, so the construction company I contacted before has already cancelled the cooperation agreement. Sigh, I just contacted a few construction bosses on the way, but it's too sudden. They have a lot of things on their hands. Most of them just received a big order, or else they're rushing to finish the project at the end of the year. The biggest land problem was solved, but a new one was about to come. Su Yun deeply felt how troublesome it was to be the boss of a group. Even if he took over Sky Entertainment Group, he would definitely need Zhou Meiyan's help. Without Zhou Meiyan, he wouldn't be able to take care of everything. After all, our project is a big one. I don't dare to believe in an ordinary company. Zhou Meiyan frowned and said with a sigh. It's true that one wave comes after another. Guochuanjiang has really left me a lot of trouble. Su Yun glanced at Shirley. Shirley scratched his head and said, I do know a lot of friends who are in the construction industry, but the residential buildings on Qingdao have long been saturated. The occupancy rate of many residential areas is less than 30%. These people have all gone out to develop real estate. Slap! Su Yun slapped his head. He was really looking for a donkey. He didn't need to look for a construction company. All he needed to do was call Tangjiu, and the Tang Group would easily take care of the project. This company was definitely big enough. It was a win-win situation. Why not? Su Yun made a phone call and told Tangjiu about the situation. Tangjiu immediately agreed to go to Qingdao to discuss the details with them after she confirmed the final construction progress of the artificial river project on the last day of the day. What other troublesome things did he have to deal with? Su Yun was immensely pleased with himself. Such a small matter was too easy for him. It seemed that he had the talent to be a boss. Maybe he could really make Sky Entertainment Group the world's leading entertainment company. When that time came, Hollywood would cry. The interior decoration and the architectural design. Zhou Meiyan said, the Tang Group is indeed a capable and qualified construction company. However, their designers are still a little inferior to a real design master. Because this is Zhang Taisui's last wish, I nitpicked and said that it would be best to find a real designer to participate in the construction of the film and television plaza, and be responsible for the later renovation work with the Tang Group. This would make me feel more at ease. Zhou Meiyan's words made sense. Su Yun nodded. Although it seemed like nitpicking, it was actually very necessary. Not to mention other complicated things, just the lighting alone was a problem. If one didn't really study lighting design, they wouldn't know how to set up the lighting. They definitely needed a good designer. Leave it to me. Shirley patted his chest and said, I know him. He's my sworn brother, the chief design director of Yifeng Decorations, the young and promising designer Wang Yu. See mingling in an office full of beauties for details. He has won international design awards. You know that the Huaxia Grand Theater in Qingdao was built not long ago. That's his work. Hundreds of young designers all over the world want to win this project and become famous. Wang Yu. Su Yun and Zhou Meiyan had heard of him. He was definitely a young talent, an indispensable artistic talent in Huaxia. However, with his current status, the cost of inviting him to design was definitely not a small sum. After all, the Grand Theater was a national project. After it was built, its reputation far surpassed that of the Sydney Grand Theater. Su Yun couldn't believe it. Mr. Shi, you're not joking with us, right? If you can invite designer Wang, Mr. Zhuo will definitely thank you. Mr. Su, you're treating me like an outsider. Leave it to me. I'm not asking for anything in return. I just hope that when you have a chance to see Mr. Xie, tell him to come back to Qingdao. I really want to have a drink with him again. Shirley said emotionally. He looked up and sighed. Mr. Xie has done me a favor, but I haven't had a chance to repay him. Definitely. Su Yun promised him. I believe that I will have a chance to see him again. The world was so small that when you turned around, you didn't know who you would meet. At the same time, the world was so big that when you turned around, you didn't know who you would lose. That was right. Su Yun took the land contract of Quicksand Gold Coast to Guochuanjiang. Guochuanjiang hadn't eaten for a day. He was so hungry that he couldn't even lift his eyelids. However, when he saw the contract, his eyes widened in surprise. Mr. Guo, I told you that I'm a man of my word. Su Yun said coldly. Everything is like this. You've thought about it for a day. It's about time you made a choice. Do you want me to take you to jail in Xinjiang? Or do you want to be a knife-shaved noodle seller in front of Sky Entertainment Group? Choose for yourself. Guochuanjiang's face twisted in pain. In the end, his rationality won over his wishful thinking. He promised Su Yun that he would return everything he had gotten from Sky Entertainment, and everything Zhang Taisui had given him. He would obediently go to Sky Entertainment Group and sell knife-shaved noodles for the rest of his life. Mr. Guo, after the noodle seller opens, use more ingredients and oil. When you make the noodles, beat more eggs. Be careful of hygiene. I will ask my colleagues at Sky Entertainment to help you. Su Yun smiled. In the past, you weren't allowed to bring breakfast to the company. From now on, you are allowed to bring breakfast to the company every Monday. However, you can only bring your knife-shaved noodles. Guo Chuanjiang's face was ashen. He didn't know if he should get up and thank Su Yun. Guo Chuanjiang's current situation could be described in one sentence. Suddenly, the winter wind blew, and in an instant he was back to square one. What Zhang Taisui had given him was already a lot. However, he was controlled by desire and greed. A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. Everyone understood this simple logic. However, once greed arose, very few people could control it. Just like how no one would have thought that a fat man selling knife-shaved noodles on the street would become Mr. Guo of Sky Entertainment Group, who sat in Barbassa, drove a Range Rover, and played with female celebrities. No one would have thought that the high and mighty Mr. Guo of Sky Entertainment Group, who sat in Barbassa, drove a Range Rover, and played with female celebrities, would be reduced to selling knife-shaved noodles on the street. Life is unpredictable. No one is guaranteed to be mediocre their whole life. No one is guaranteed to be rich their whole life. Being kind to others is the foundation of being human. Using the chairman's words, when you drink water, don't forget the person who dug the well. The right way to do things is to repay the kindness of a drop of water with a gushing spring. Ungrateful people will never have a good ending. There was no doubt about this. Chapter 474. For 2 days, Hulai had not been able to force an answer out of him. He wanted to know where Wan Qingshuang and Chou Yun went with Feng Guogua, but no one in the entire medicinal cuisine hotel told him. Even if he had slapped the young man's face until it looked like a pig's head, he still did not get the answer he wanted. Bah! Dan Jiahao spat a mouthful of bloody phlegm in front of Hulai. Grandson, if you have the ability, continue to hit me. If you have the ability, kill me. Humph, even if you kill me, I won't say. Cough cough. But I'm telling you, Yin. Brother Yin will never let you go. Just you wait. Wait for your death. In the face of provocation, Hulai raised his foot and angrily shot, directly hitting Dan Jiahao's lower abdomen. Dan Jiahao flew out and fell heavily to the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood and struggled twice, but could not get up. Don't King say it again. Dan Hongning, who was also tied up, saw his brother being beaten like this, and he was very sad in his heart. If it was him who beat him, it would be fine. Anyway, he had beaten this disobedient boy many times before. But it was different if it was someone else who beat him. As a brother, he was absolutely unhappy in his heart. He would rather the other party beat him. But they were obviously no match for the other party. The other party was very fierce, even as powerful as Brother Yin. The 3 tigers of Southern City did not even have a chance to fight back in front of this person. After Brother Yin and Sister Shuang left, it was already the 3rd day of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel's closure. The 3 tigers of Southern City were worried, so they came to see what was going on. But they found that everyone was tied up by the person in front of them. As the current acting boss, Dan Jiahao's face was bruised and swollen. Chef Jiangshan was not much better. There was no normal color of skin on his body. Seeing that someone dared to make trouble in the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel, the 3 tigers of Southern City were naturally furious, especially Dan Hongning. After all, Dan Jiahao was his brother. Seeing his brother being beaten into a pig's head, if he did not get angry, then he was not born to the same mother. Seeing Dan Hongning take the lead, Lu Feng and Kong Zhong naturally rushed forward with their weapons. After all, Lu Feng also saw his cousin Lu Winnie tied to a chair. Well, the 3 tigers of Southern City didn't see when the other side moved, and they were directly swept to the ground by the other side's whip kick. Before they had time to recover, their faces and stomachs were punched. This was simply not an opponent of the same level. They didn't even touch the other side's shadow. and had already been beaten black and blue and defeated. Dan Jiahao couldn't bear to see his 3 big brothers being beaten up, so he rushed forward again. As a result, his already weak body was sent flying again. LV Winnie's heart ached so much that she could only cry silently. She knew that the more it was like this, the more she couldn't say it. Otherwise, everything Dan Jiahao had done would have been in vain. Their hope and future were directly linked to Brother Yun and Sister Frost. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never betray Sister Frost. Even if they were beaten to death, they would grit their teeth and hold on. Hulai's hands were tired from the beating. He picked up a bottle of half-drunk vodka on the ground and gulped it down without saying a word. He smashed the bottom of the bottle and walked straight to LV Winnie with the sharp bottle. "You don't want to say it, right?" Hulai sneered and gently swept the sharp crack of the bottle across LV Winnie's face. "I'll give you one last chance. If you still don't tell me where the 2 women and the little girl went, then I'll disfigure her face." "I mean it." Lu Feng was angry when he heard this. "Damn it, if you have the guts, come at us. What's the point of attacking a girl? F***CK. If you're a man, do something a man should do. Don't do such a disgraceful thing." Hulai looked at Lu Feng with disdain. "You're really a man. Hehe. Then I'll come at you." As soon as he finished speaking, Hulai stepped forward and mercilessly stabbed the sharp crack of the bottle into Lu Feng's lower abdomen. Lu Feng wanted to curse, but he couldn't say a word. He knelt on the ground, holding his stomach. His whole body was twitching in pain, and beads of sweat kept coming out on his forehead. This pain was absolutely no less than being stabbed by a knife, and the wound was immediately stained with alcohol. That kind of heart-wrenching pain was even more unbearable for ordinary people. But even so, Lu Feng didn't cry out in pain. He gritted his teeth and endured it. Fortunately, it was his abdomen that was stabbed. At most, it would hurt his intestines. But the bright red blood coming out of his abdomen scared LV Winnie and made her faint. She had never encountered such a thing since she was a child. Naturally, LV Winnie couldn't bear it. Seeing that Lu Feng was stabbed, Dan Hongning and Kong Zhong rushed forward. But after all, their strength was limited. They were beaten by punches and kicks. It was impossible for them to take revenge. Just as Dan Jiahao tried his best to protect LV Winnie, the front hall of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel was pushed open. The door of the hotel was closed, and it was written that the hotel was closed. Who would break in so early in the morning? Tang Jiu's eyes widened. She covered her mouth and looked at the bloody scene in front of her in surprise. After Su Yun and the others left, she didn't continue to stay in the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. Instead, she returned to the Express Hotel next to the construction site to think about the light source design at night. Tang Jiu had just finished the final project planning yesterday. Early in the morning, she was ready to rush to Su Yun to talk about another project on Qingdao. Since she was leaving, she naturally wanted to say goodbye to the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. But she never thought that she would see such an unbelievable scene when she came in. Was she dreaming? "Miss Tang, leave quickly. This person is not a good person. He's here to catch Sister Frost and Guagua. Go and inform Brother Yin." Dan Jiahao shouted with the last of his strength. Then he felt a sharp pain in his temple. His vision turned black as Hulai kicked him and he fainted. Tang Jiu turned to leave. Her reaction was fast, but when she turned to the door, Hulai was already blocking her way. "Ah!" Tang Jiu jumped in fright. This person's speed was as fast as a ghost's. "Miss, since you're here, why don't you sit down and have a chat with us?" Hulai sneered. "I just want to ask where they took the little girl. I'm not a bad person. I'm a friend." "Haha, why won't they tell me?" Tang Jiu stepped back nervously. You're a friend. Then why did you hit them?" "Because they're not friendly to me. I'm only friendly to people who are friendly to me. If they're unfriendly to me, I won't let them have a good time." Hulai approached slowly. "Miss, I know you're a sensible person. If you tell me where they are, I promise I won't touch you." Lu Feng lay on the ground, blood still gushing out of his lower abdomen. I can't tell you." Tang Jiu's vision turned dark. She was about to faint. If Lu Feng couldn't be saved, his life would be in danger. She had to think of a foolproof plan. She had to save them. Because of Lu Feng's words, Hulai kicked him again. Lu Feng, who was already in a daze, fainted like his brother. Don't hit me anymore. I'll tell you. But you have to promise me one thing. Tang Jiu said nervously. I can't tell you, Miss Tang. If this person knows where they are, Jiang Shan will be dying. Hu Lai didn't give Jiang Shan a chance to speak. To prevent others from affecting Tang Jiu, he suddenly attacked and knocked everyone unconscious. Tang Jiu was the only one left who was still conscious. Miss Tang, haha, as long as you're willing to tell me, I can promise you 100 things. Hu Lai said. But you have to promise me one thing. Come with me. Haha. I'm not a 5th grade student. If you lie to me, I'll kill you. Tang Jiu swallowed. I won't lie to you. I promise you that I'll take you there. But you have to promise me that I'll call an ambulance. They need to be treated in time. Hu Lai walked to the front desk and pressed the hands-free button on the front desk. He immediately called the emergency center. Hello, how can I help you? 120 Emergency Center is at your service. A clear voice came from the phone. Hu Lai said in a hoarse voice, Hedong City, Central District, Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. There are about a dozen seriously injured people. Please come quickly. If you're late, I'm afraid it'll be too late. After that, Hu Lai hung up the phone. His eyes fell on Tang Jiu again. I'll wait for the ambulance to come. Tang Jiu said. Hu Lai's eyes flashed coldly. When the ambulance comes, I'm afraid it won't be easy for me to take you away. Miss Tang, don't make me talk nonsense. Either you come with me now, or I'll kill them. When the ambulance comes, no one will be able to save them. It's your choice. At this juncture, Tang Jiu had no other choice. She could only take Hu Lai out of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. This time, Tang Jiu went to Qingdao alone because all the staff here were busy with the artificial river project. As for the others, she had already called the company's headquarters to arrange for them to meet at Qingdao. Hu Lai got into the car with Tang Jiu and asked, It seems that they've left the city? That's right. Tang Jiu's heart was beating fast when she was lying. They went to Qingdao. I'll take you there now. Hu Lai didn't notice Tang Jiu's nervousness and heartbeat. He thought it was normal because anyone would feel nervous and uneasy when they were threatened. Miss Tang, a wise man submits to circumstances. Ah! Tang Jiu lied. Of course, she couldn't take this ferocious man to Sister Frost, Cho Yun and Guagua. She believed that when she brought this man to Su Yun would be able to subdue him. This was the only way she could think of to get the best of both worlds. Otherwise, she really didn't know how to save all the injured people in the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. After Tang Jiu's car left, several ambulances rushed to the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel and took all the unconscious and injured people into the ambulances. The police immediately got involved in this matter. Chen Wei attached great importance to this matter. After all, this place had a deep relationship with Qin Wan and Su Yun. Chapter 475. Tang Jiu was so nervous that the 4-hour journey from Hedong to Qingdao made her feel physically and mentally exhausted. When they finally got off the highway, Tang Jiu felt as if a heavy stone had been lifted off her heart. Although she hadn't seen Su Yun yet, she felt a little more comforted just because she was close to her. As long as she could successfully trick this person to Su Yun, she believed that with the tacit understanding between her and Su Yun would know her intentions with just a glance or a cough. By then, this person would not be able to escape even if he had wings. Miss Tang, thank you for your hard work. Just tell me the address and I'll go find them myself. Hu Lai was indeed a smart person. He had asked Tang Jiu to come with him because he was afraid that she would tell him a random place and cause him to come for nothing. Now that they were in the city, he did not need to worry about that anymore. However, Hu Lai still could not completely trust Tang Jiu. What if Tang Jiu took him to a rented apartment full of policemen? He could not possibly run away by attacking the police, right? Then he would be on the wanted list and his situation would be even more difficult. Therefore, Hu Lai decided to come to the address and investigate it himself. He only needed to tie Tang Jiu up in the car. This way, Tang Jiu would not dare to speak carelessly. Hu Lai was very pleased with himself. He picked up the 2 bottles of wine that he had brought with him and drank a few mouthfuls. He felt much better. Although he swore to Miaodao that he would not drink before the matter was settled, he really could not control himself. Anyway, Miaodao would never believe his oath. If drunken sword immortals stopped drinking, the world would be in chaos. Tang Jiu did not expect Hu Lai to make such a suggestion. She looked a little nervous and said, "Let me take you with me. That place is not easy to find. I'm afraid you'll get lost." "Miss Tang, since we're already here, can you stop playing tricks in front of me? I don't have much patience, so I hope you won't make me repeat myself." Hu Lai said coldly, "I said I can do it myself. Then you just need to tell me the address. You don't need to worry about anything else. Now find a parking lot and stop your car. Then, tell me the address, and your mission will be considered complete." Tang Jiu didn't have the ability to resist, so he could only follow Hu Lai's instructions. He drove to a parking lot and found a secluded corner to park the car. Hu Lai looked at Tang Jiu with anticipation. He hoped to get the address from Tang Jiu's mouth immediately. He couldn't wait to catch the little girl. Since his stalking had been exposed, if he could bring the child back to the Netherworld King, he would definitely receive the Netherworld King's forgiveness. Tang Jiu was struggling in her heart. She did not know if she had made the right choice, but at this time, she could only choose to believe in Su Yun. As long as she passed the problem to Su Yun would definitely have a way to deal with it. Tang Jiu took a deep breath and said to Hu Lai, "Haitian Hotel, 28th floor, room 2808. This was the place where she and Su Yun had agreed to meet. Now it was almost time for them to meet. She could only pray that Su Yun would be able to use 120% of his energy to deal with this uninvited guest. Other than praying, she couldn't do anything else. Because at this time, Hu Lai had already taken out the rope he had prepared and tied her tightly to the car seat. "Miss Tang, I hope we can work together happily." Before Hu Lai left, he smiled confidently. "As long as you don't lie to me, I will definitely thank you. But if you lie to me, then don't blame me for turning against you when I come back. At that time, no one will be able to save you." Hu Lai pulled out the car key and got out of the car. Then he locked the car. A luxury car was sealed well. The soundproofing was also very good. The privacy glass was even better. The people inside could see outside very clearly, but the people outside could not see what was inside the car at all. So, even if Tang Jiu screamed at the top of her lungs, no one would come to save her. Tang Jiu sat quietly in the car. She knew that any struggle now would be in vain. The car was completely sealed. She had no idea how long the air inside could support her. Tang Jiu really put her life in Su Yun's hands. If Su Yun could not solve the problem in a short period of time, she was afraid that she would suffocate to death in the car due to lack of oxygen. After Hu Lai left the parking lot, he quickly called a taxi and rushed directly to Haitian Hotel. No matter whether Tang Jiu was telling the truth or not, he would not come back. Tang Jiu's life and death did not matter to him. He only wanted what Hades wanted. Only then could he save his life. About half an hour later, Hu Lai finally arrived at Haitian Hotel. He did not rush upstairs. Instead, he went to the front desk and said to the staff, "Miss, please help me call room 2808. I went out with my girlfriend. She has the room card. Just now, when we were shopping, we quarreled and she left by herself. I called her, but she did not pick up. So, I want to borrow your phone. This way, I can confirm if she is back." The staff at the front desk smiled and said, "Please wait a moment." Then, she dialed the internal line and passed it to Hu Lai. After 2 rings, someone picked up the phone. It was a woman's voice. "Hello, who is this?" Hu Lai laughed and hung up the phone. The staff at the front desk was puzzled. She did not understand why the guest did not speak. "Sir, your girlfriend is talking to you. Why don't you answer? What if she thinks that we are harassing her? She has the right to complain about us." Hu Lai politely returned the phone to the staff. "Sorry, thank you. I am afraid that if I speak, she will be angrier. I will go up and explain to her now. Don't worry, I will not let her complain about you. I will also write a commendation letter to praise you. Thank you." The staff at the front desk smiled. "You are welcome, sir. This is what we should do. I hope you and your girlfriend have a good time in Qingdao." "Yes, we will have a good time." Hu Lai turned and left. He quickly walked to the elevator and arrived at the door of room 2808 on the 28th floor without stopping. Hu Lai held his breath and pressed his ear against the door to feel the atmosphere in the room. Finally, after he was sure that there was no danger, he knocked on the door. "Sorry to disturb you, but you have won a free lottery for our hotel's 10th anniversary celebration. You have received a free lunch. Is there anyone in?" Hu Lai's ability to lie was not bad. Soon a woman's voice came from the room. "Please come in." A cold look appeared on Hu Lai's face. The moment the door was opened, his figure flashed and he entered the room. But the moment Hu Lai entered the room, he realized that something was wrong. He did not feel the aura of so many people when he was outside the door, but he felt the aura of 7 people when he came in. The moment the door closed, Hu Lai felt 2 strong gusts of wind coming from behind him. Drunken Sword Immortal was, after all, a super expert. Naturally, he reacted quickly and nimbly in the face of a sneak attack. He rolled forward and dodged the sneak attack from behind. However, just as he was about to dash out of the door, the woman standing at the door swiped at him with her vicious claws. The woman's strength and speed were definitely not inferior to the 2 men who had attacked him from behind. Hu Lai was forced back into the room by Zhuo Meiyan. He was tightly surrounded by Wang Zhe and Wu Yuandong, who had attacked him first. At this time, Hu Lai, who deeply felt the threat from outside, no longer held back. 2 cold lights flashed in his hands as he took out the folding crescent moon blades hidden in his sleeves. Su Yun sat on the sofa and looked at this uninvited guest. Feng Ying stood behind him. As someone who did not have much fighting power, Feng Ying naturally knew where she should be in the safest position. Shirley, who was sitting next to Su Yun, was stunned. These people's movements just now had dazzled him. They were all experts, fierce people. When Hu Lai took out the 2 crescent moon blades from his sleeves, everyone except Shirley's eyes lit up in surprise. "Crescent moon blades," Su Yun said in a low voice. "No wonder you reek of alcohol. So you are Drunken Sword Immortal, Hu Lai." Hu Lai sneered. "Not bad, kid. You know who I am. Then who are you? Why do you want to make things difficult for me?" "If you want to make things difficult for Guogua, then of course you want to make things difficult for me." Su Yun narrowed his eyes. Those who knew him would know that he wanted to kill now. Even if the other party was a super expert, Su Yun would not allow him to hurt the people around him. "Why do you want to make things difficult for me instead of working under the Emperor of Southern Lu?" The reason Su Yun and the rest were able to make all these preparations was because of a phone call 2 hours ago. Dan Jiahao, who should not have been able to wake up, actually woke up in the hospital with a willpower that exceeded that of a normal person. The first thing he did when he woke up was to ask for a phone. The nurse passed the phone to him, and he immediately called Su Yun. Dan Jiahao told Su Yun that someone had come to the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel to make trouble for Sister Shuang and Guogua. They had survived for 2 days, but because of Tang Jiu's appearance, they could not hold on. In order to save them, Tang Jiu took that person to find Sister Shuang and Guogua. Dan Jiahao called Su Yun so that Su Yun could prepare in time and not let Sister Shuang and Guogua get hurt. Su Yun was worried at first, but then he suddenly thought that Tang Jiu would never do such a thing because Guogua was her sworn sister. She must be thinking of a way to save them. Because Tang Jiu had made an appointment with him to come to Qingdao today, Su Yun concluded that Tang Jiu was most likely leading the uninvited guest to Qingdao. So Su Yun was prepared to be the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Sure enough, Su Yun's guess was right. When the silent phone call came in, Su Yun was sure that someone had come. However, he did not expect that the person who came this time was a super expert. Drunken Sword Immortal Hu Lai, this person was good with a sword, especially after drinking some wine. Su Yun could not help but gasp. He knew that Hu Lai was working for Southern Lu Wang Long Huang. Today, he suddenly came to make trouble for Guogua. Could it be that Wang Long Huang knew about Guogua's secret? This was definitely not good news for Su Yun. "You know a lot, but you still don't know that I have stopped working for Wang Long Huang." Hu Lai sneered. "Are you going to bully me with your numbers? Do you want to try my sword?" Chapter 476. Hu Lai's title of Drunken Saber Immortal was not for nothing. Not just in Lu Nan, Even in the entire Huaxia's underworld, he was a well-known ruthless character. Although he could only be a follower in front of a ruthless person like Miao Dao was still Wang Longhuang's second-in-command after all. Since Wang Longhuang dared to proclaim himself as the emperor, he had always been ruthless. Those who betrayed him would not be able to escape the clutches of Executioner Miao Dao and Black Tiger Luoxing. Su Yun said coldly. If Executioner Miao Dao knows you're here, I'm afraid you won't be able to save your own life, right? Is that so? I'm afraid things won't go as you wish. If Miao Dao knows I'm here, the one who will die will definitely not be me. Hu Lai laughed disdainfully. You'd better hand over that little girl immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. I, Drunken Saber Immortal, have lived to this day because I've never been afraid of outnumbering others. As he spoke, Hu Lai took out a square metal portable wine jug from his bosom. There were 3 words written on the metal jug: Stuffy Donkey. This was a strong Mongolian wine with a high alcohol content of 67%. It was hard to swallow but not to the head. Drinking it would cause one to get drunk. It was the best white wine in the Chahar region. Since Hu Lai was called Drunken Saber Immortal, it obviously had something to do with this wine. Hu Lai was a Han born in Mongolia. He practiced good saber skills, but his saber skills were more powerful the more drunk he was. This was because Hu Lai's saber technique was based on speed. When he was drunk, his saber technique would be useless. Only speed could not be defeated in the world of martial arts. Everyone understood this principle. Therefore, Hu Lai had reached the highest realm when he had no moves. This was why people called him the Drunken Saber Immortal. When Hu Lai did not drink wine, he would not be able to force an ordinary first-class master into a desperate situation in front of him. However, when Hu Lai was slightly drunk after drinking some wine, he would be able to use his saber skills. Even a super master would not be able to withstand his attacks, let alone a first-class master. Don't let him touch the wine. Under Su Yun's command, Wu Yuandong and Wang Zhe suddenly attacked from both sides. Wang Zhe was naturally a peak stage 9 first-rate expert, while Wu Yuandong no longer hid his strength. He also erupted with the strength of a first-rate stage 9 first-rate expert. Under the pincer attack of the 2 first-rate experts, Hu Lai suddenly leaned back and exerted strength in his legs. His entire body slid across the floor with his back against the floor. As he slid, he was just about to twist open the lid of the wine jug when a black shadow swept past him like lightning. Hu Lai only felt pain in his hand as the wine jug was kicked away by Zhuo Meiyan. The speed of a super expert was indeed different. Hu Lai was unable to react in time. Zhuo Yiming hurriedly stepped forward to catch the wine jug that had been sent flying by Zhuo Meiyan. However, Hu Lai's reaction was extremely quick. He suddenly propped himself up with both hands and slapped the ground. Then he flipped over and grabbed the wine jug. After all, Zhuo Yiming's strength was a level lower than Hu Lai's. Naturally, he couldn't resist Hu Lai's slap and was forced to retreat a few steps. At this time, Hu Lai realized that these people weren't easy to deal with. Since Zhuo Meiyan could kick away the wine jug in his hand, she obviously wasn't an ordinary person. Compared to the people who had attacked him from both sides, this woman's strength was probably even more terrifying. At the very least, there wasn't a level difference between them. When Hu Lai grabbed the wine jug, he only had one thought in his mind, and that was to drink 2 mouthfuls as fast as possible. Due to his dependence on alcohol, he didn't know how to play with blades when he didn't have wine. If the other party was a level lower than him, it wouldn't matter. However, if they were all super experts like him, he didn't dare to be careless. But even when he grabbed the wine jug, he found that he couldn't pull it in front of him. This was because there was another person who grabbed the wine jug at the same time as him, Su Yun. At this critical moment, Hu Lai couldn't spare any strength. He used all his strength, but still couldn't snatch the wine jug from the young man's hand. At this moment, Hu Lai suddenly realized and exclaimed, "You're that Su Yun?" Su Yun's lips curled into a cold smile. Isn't it a bit late to find out now? Hu Lai had indeed underestimated him. He knew that Su Yun was definitely a super expert. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Green Ghost. However, he didn't expect to meet Su Yun. At the same time, he also didn't expect that Su Yun would have a super expert helping him. "Who are you?" Hu Lai said sternly to Zhuo Meiyan. If it was Violent Fox Venerable Cho Yun, she probably wouldn't be able to reach this level of strength. Before Zhuo Meiyan could say anything, Zhuo Yeming snorted. You don't even know my sister? Haha, you should have at least heard of the white-lipped bamboo green, right? Hu Lai gasped. There were very few women in the underground world who had the strength of a super expert. The white-lipped bamboo green was one of them. After being imparted with Zhang Taisui's lifelong skills, she was able to break through the realm of a super expert in a short time. This was a legendary story in the underground world. Before Hu Lai betrayed the emperor with Miao Dao, Wang Longhuang often talked about it. He also hoped that he could have a female expert by his side. Unfortunately, this white-lipped bamboo green inherited the Sky Entertainment Group. It was impossible for her to work for him. Even now he was with Hell King Lung Chen. Lung Chen had the same idea as Wang Longhuang, which was to have a female expert by his side. There were very few super expert women in the underground world. Those who had both strength and beauty were even rarer. However, why would such a woman work for Su Yun? What was Su Yun? How could a man who owned a hotel in a small county like Hudong be so attractive? If this got out, Hu Lai wouldn't believe it. Who are you? Hu Lai finally understood that the person he should be most curious about was this Su Yun standing in front of him. It doesn't matter what I do. What about Tangjiu? Su Yun said coldly, Drunken sword immortal. I've given you a chance. If you don't cherish it, then don't blame me for not giving you any face. If you really want to know who I am, then go back and ask your former master. I did have some dealings with him. The corner of Hu Lai's mouth twitched. He believed that Su Yun said this on purpose. Su Yun must have known that it was impossible for him to ask the heavenly son, Wang Longhuang. If Wang Longhuang were to see him now, he would definitely ask Black Tiger Luo Xing to skin him alive. We know you're strong, but that doesn't mean you can escape from us. Su Yun said. If you don't believe me, then you can try. I'll give you a chance. Taking advantage of Hu Lai's chaotic state of mind, Su Yun suddenly exerted his strength. A fierce pressure forced Hu Lai to retreat, but Hu Lai instantly reacted. Su Yun's goal was definitely not to injure him, but to snatch the wine. Although Hu Lai reacted, it was all too late. Su Yun snatched the wine jug and threw it out the window. The jug fell from the 28th floor and disappeared into the holly forest below. Without the wine, Hu Lai's drunken sword immortal knife skills were greatly reduced. Su Yun didn't even need to attack. Zhuo Yeming, Wu Yuandong, and Wang Zhe attacked him together. It was enough to overwhelm him. Zhuo Meiyan only needed to make a few moves to make Hu Lai completely lose his footing. In less than 10 minutes, Hu Lai's arms were grabbed by Wu Yuandong and Wang Zhe, and he knelt in front of Su Yun. Where's Tangjiu? Speak. Su Yun said coldly. Hu Lai snorted, then suddenly raised his head and laughed. He had failed this mission, and Miao Dao wouldn't let him go when he returned. Even if Miao Dao was willing to plead for him because of their many years of friendship, he didn't believe that Lung Chen would forgive him so easily. Even if Lung Chen forgave him, he would still kick him out. Without Pluto's protection, Luo Xing would definitely find him and kill him. Therefore, death was no longer a scary thing for Hu Lai. If he didn't complete a task, it meant death. Anyway, I don't want to live anymore. Su Yun, do you think you've won? Hu Lai said. Although you've won, I haven't lost. At least I can drag someone down with me. You've won, but the price you paid is too high. You want to find that Tangjiu? Go find him in hell. Say it again if you dare. Before Su Yun could finish, Hu Lai tilted his head. Su Yun was nervous. He opened Hu Lai's mouth, which was full of blood. This guy was really cruel. He bit off his own tongue and swallowed it into his windpipe, suffocating himself to death. Hu Lai's suicide shocked them, but Su Yun didn't have time to care about his worthless life. Tangjiu came with Hu Lai, and he had to find Tangjiu. Even if Tangjiu was killed, he had to find Tangjiu's body. No matter what, even if it was the worst explanation, he had to give Tangjiu's father, Tang Jingtian, an explanation. But if Hu Lai died, he wouldn't be able to get Tangjiu's whereabouts from anyone. Yes, he had to find the surveillance camera to see how Hu Lai came here. Maybe he could find some clues. Su Yun, whose mind was in a mess, didn't have time to explain to others. He rushed out of the room and went to the lobby reception as fast as he could. He found the manager on duty and said, "Take me to your surveillance room. I want to see the surveillance camera. I have something very important to do." The manager on duty was flirting with the pretty girl at the front desk. After being disturbed, he was stunned for a while. You're our guest?" "Yes. Take me to the surveillance camera right now." Soo-Yun was burning with anxiety, so his tone was more or less commanding. The manager on duty was already unhappy that Soo-Yun interrupted his flirting with the pretty girl at the front desk, so he purposely made things difficult for him. "I'm sorry, our surveillance room is not for anyone to look at. Even if you're a police officer, if you don't have a certificate, we won't let you look at it. I'm sorry, we don't have this service." Soo-Yun's heart was filled with an inexplicable anger, but he couldn't vent it because he needed help. Just as Soo-Yun was about to compromise and say some soft words, a shadow rushed up to him and slapped the manager on duty's face. Padash. The slap was so loud and clear that Shirley's hand was numb. F***ck off. "Do you know who I am?" When the manager on duty saw Shirley, he was so scared that he almost wet his pants. Who didn't know Shirley? He was the #1 figure in Qingdao's underworld. He really didn't know how he offended this big shot. Mother****. Even if Grandpa Sue wanted to check your boss's ancestral grave, he would obediently dig it up for Grandpa Sue. Who the F***ck do you think you are? Acting cool in front of Grandpa Sue? If you want to die, just cough. Shirley went up and scolded. "Where's your boss? Get him out here." Chapter 477. Shirley also had a bad temper. After all, he was a gangster. Facing this snobbish grandson of his, he really wanted to teach him a good lesson. He actually said that the police couldn't check the surveillance cameras casually. If he had asked just now, this grandson would have immediately led the way in front. It was just that he saw that Grandpa Sue was unfamiliar and disturbed him from picking up girls, so his attitude was just asking for a beating. Before Shirley could teach him a lesson, Soo-Yun gestured for him to stop. Time is of the essence. Don't argue with him over such trivial matters. Ask him to take me to the CCTV now. Time waits for no one. Yes. Shirley answered quickly. He turned around and scolded. Did you hear that? If you have ears, hurry up and lead the way. Grandpa Sue and I are going to check the CCTV. If you delay Grandpa Sue's business, I will smash your hotel and confiscate your house. The lobby manager on duty hurriedly nodded and bowed as he led the way to the monitoring room. If Shirley said he would do it, he would definitely do it. If he offended Shirley because of him, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to stay in Qingdao anymore. At least, the hotel owner wouldn't dare to hire him anymore. The most important thing now was to serve these two big Buddhas well. Therefore, the lobby manager on duty did whatever Soo-Yun said. It was much easier to check the CCTV. In less than 5 minutes, they found the CCTV recording of Hulai's appearance at the entrance of the hotel. Hulai came here by taxi. Although the CCTV at the entrance of the hotel wasn't very clear, they could still vaguely determine the taxi company and the license plate number. Without Soo-Yun's order, Shirley immediately made a few calls to contact the taxi company. After 2 minutes, he found the driver and asked him to come to the hotel to meet Shirley. He didn't need to ask him to come. He just called him to ask where the guest got on the taxi. Soo-Yun was quick and efficient. He would not waste time waiting. While Shirley was dealing with this matter, Zhou Meiyan and the others came downstairs. Zhou Meiyan asked Zhou Yiming to pass the car keys found on Hulai to Soo-Yun. Maserati. Soo-Yun remembered clearly that after Tang Jiu took over the Tang Group, he no longer drove the Volkswagen Shangku without regard for his status. Instead, he changed to this luxury car. Soo-Yun took the car keys, and his mind went blank. He even thought of the most likely scenario, and he was almost certain that he was right. Tang Jiu was most likely being controlled by Hulai in her own car. The oxygen in the car was limited. If one stayed in the car for a long time, there was a 100% chance that one's life would be in danger due to the lack of oxygen. The current situation could be said to be extremely urgent. Soo-Yun did not want to wait any longer. Grandpa Sue, that guy's car was parked in a large parking lot in the northern part of Qingdao. I know that place. Shirley gave Su-yin a reply at the most crucial moment. Let's go. Su-yin made a prompt decision. Seeing that Zhou Meiyan and the others were about to follow, Su-yin paused for a moment. He turned around and said to them, I can handle this myself. You guys stay here and think of a way to deal with his body. It's best if we change to another hotel. After all, Sky Entertainment is still working on a project in Qingdao. I don't want to complicate things. Zhou Meiyan seemed to be worried. What if he has other accomplices? Su-yin was certain. If he does, then they will all come here. After all, his original intention was not to catch me, but to catch Guogua. So, anyone would want to take the credit. Although Hu Lai is a rare master, he is not arrogant and unruly. So someone must have ordered him to do this. So we must deal with this matter cleanly. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. Zhou Meiyan knew the seriousness of the matter. So she nodded and agreed to Su-yun's request. Leave this to my people. Shirley said. I'll call my people and ask them to help. No, the fewer people who know, the safer they will be. Su-yun stopped Shirley from making the call. Take me to that parking lot. The sooner the better. The BMW X6M was definitely not to be trifled with. After all, it was an SUV worth 2 million yuan. With more than 500 horsepower, the car could easily reach a speed of more than 200 kilometers per hour. The acceleration of 100 kilometers per hour in less than 5 seconds definitely made Su-yin experience the super strong driving force. Originally, Shirley was already driving hard. Now that he was in trouble, Shirley drove the car like a crab. Obviously, this car was still very recognizable on the roads of Qingdao. It was definitely not because of the brand of the car. Although cars worth more than 2 million yuan were not considered common on the streets, they were definitely not rare either. It was mainly because of his license plate. Everyone knew who was driving this car. Shirley did not care about the red, yellow, blue and green lights at all. He overtook in the wrong direction and forced his way through. In any case, he basically broke all the traffic rules that could be broken. Fortunately, his driving skills ensured that he did not encounter any major dangers along the way. At most, he made the passers-by angry but did not dare to say anything. If everyone drove like this, even 1,200 points per year would not be enough to be deducted. However, Shirley was not afraid. His license plate had long been filtered. Even if he was photographed, it would not be recorded. Of course, he was not the only one whose license plate was recorded in this filtering system. There were also the cars of the leaders and so on. This kind of thing was not rare. This kind of situation existed in every city in Huaxia. This was something that only capable people could do. If it was not as good, or if it was someone with a stronger relationship, they could also make a few phone calls to cancel it after being photographed. The rules were dead, but people were alive. As long as you had a strong enough relationship and a wide enough network, anything was possible. When Su-yin was brought to the parking lot in North City by Shirley, Su-yin took out the car keys in his hand and began to look for a car. After a minute, he found Tang Jiu's silver Maserati in the corner of the parking lot. At this time, Tang Jiu had been tied up for 2 to 3 hours. When Su-yin opened the car door, Tang Jiu, who was tied up in the driver's seat, was already in a state of slight unconsciousness. Shirley, who was following behind Su-yin, could not help but exclaim that Grandpa Su was lucky with women. He secretly sighed in his heart. It seemed that people like Grandpa Su and Grandpa Xie were destined to have luck with women. There was a white-lipped Zhu Yeqing sitting in a Mercedes-Benz, a great beauty who followed Su-yin everywhere. Here, there was a little beauty driving a Maserati who dared to risk her life for him. TSK. Comparisons were odious. Shirley had been in this business for so many years. Although the women around him also fawned over him one after another, he knew better than anyone why they did it. Shirley had many women around him, but he really could not find one who treated him so wholeheartedly without asking for anything in return. Life was sad. Because Tang Jiu was already in a state of slight unconsciousness, Su-yin could only carry her out and lay her flat on the back seat of the car. He pressed his hands against her chest and took a deep breath without any scruples. He began to perform mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on Tangjio. Shirley was quite embarrassed and could only turn his head away. At this time, the parking lot's management staff ran over and tried to ask what happened. However, when they saw Shirley's fierce look, they stopped in their tracks and did not dare to come up and meddle. Shirley's car was still parked at the entrance of the parking lot in a domineering manner, but no one dared to say anything to him or tell him to do anything. Soo-yin repeatedly pressed on Tangjio's chest and breathed on her mouth. Finally, Tangjio's chest reacted. She coughed a few times and greedily breathed in air. Tangjio's eyes widened. Looking at Soo-yin, whose hands were still pressing on her chest, Tangjio's face turned completely red. "You scared me to death." Soo-yin wiped the fine sweat on his forehead. "You really dare to play?" Tangjio quickly got up and looked around. She asked nervously, "Where is that person? If he was still here, do you think I would have a chance to save you?" Soo-yin shook his head helplessly. "You are too bold. If Dan Jiahao did not call me to prepare, I might have really been killed by you. And don't you think about the consequences. If you brought this person here, and he did not have a direct confrontation with me, you would end up miserable." Tangjio blushed. Actually, she felt that she was quite pitiful right now. She was in such a sorry state. Because she was wearing a front-button bra, Soo-yin had pushed it open a few times just now. Thinking of this, Tangjio could not help but look over. She found that Soo-yin's hands were still on her chest. "Now can you take your hands off first?" Damn. Soo-yin was too focused on saving her just now. Now that Tangjio reminded him, he forgot that his hands were still on her chest. He really blushed. When he got up in a hurry, he hit his head and grimaced in pain. To avoid the embarrassment, he could only point at Shirley and say, "This is Mr. Shir. If it was not for his help, I am afraid that you would not be able to keep your life. Treat us tonight. We should really thank Mr. Shir." Soo-yin said this because he had other arrangements. If the project of the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza was handled by the Tang Group, Tangjio would really need the help of Shirley's power in Qingdao. Otherwise, there would be a lot of things that would make it difficult for her to do. Then Soo-yin quickly introduced Tangjio. "This is the president of the Tang Group, Tangjio, Mr. Tang." Shirley hurriedly waved his hand. No. It is what I should do. I should be the one to welcome Mr. Tang to Qingdao. Today it is my treat. Mr. Su, you must let me do my duty as the host. Otherwise, I will feel really bad." Tangjio awkwardly waved at Soo-yin. Soo-yin put his ear to her. Tangjio whispered, "Can we leave here first? Let me find a place to fix my underwear. When you did the chest compression for me just now, it seems that my underwear." Soo-yin couldn't hold it in, and almost burst out laughing. Tangjio glared at him fiercely. "Mr. Shir, I am really sorry to trouble you today. Let's go back first. Don't fight anymore. I will be the host today. We are friends, so it is fate that we met." Soo-yin said, "In the future, when I come to Qingdao again, I will ask for wine directly from you. I will never use my wallet. But not today. I must express my gratitude." Shirley was still shaking his head like a rattledrum. No. I can't do that. Mr. Su, this is Qingdao. If I let you use my wallet, it will be a slap to my face. You have to understand, bro. If Mr. Xie knows that I, Shirley, let his friend use his wallet to eat in Qingdao, where will I put my face? I won't have the face to see Mr. Xie again. At this time, Zhuo Meiyan called to ask about it. After learning that everything was fine, she told Soo-yin the new hotel address. Seeing that Shirley insisted, Soo-yin did not mention it again. "Let's go. We will talk about it when we get back. There is no need to rush. Mr. Zhuo has already changed the hotel. We will talk about it when we get to the hotel. Maybe Mr. Zhuo has already arranged it. Haha." Chapter 478. Soo-yin told Shirley the address of Zhuo Meiyan's hotel. Shirley drove the car and led the way. After all, he was a local, so he was more familiar with the roads here. Soo-yin drove Tangjio's car and followed behind. Tangjio was sitting in the back. When she saw the car start, she quickly opened the rear windshield and the sunshade. At first, Soo-yin didn't think too much about it. The ultraviolet rays of the sun were not strong enough to penetrate the rear windshield. However, when Soo-yun inadvertently glanced at the rearview mirror above his head, he almost vomited blood. It turned out that the reason Tang-gyo opened the sunshade was not because she was worried about the sun, but because she was worried that someone would see her taking off her clothes in the car. After Tang-gyo placed herself in an isolated space, she carefully took off her jacket. She didn't know how Soo-yun did it, but her button-up bra had popped open. If she didn't take off her clothes, it would be difficult to button them up again. However, Tang-gyo didn't expect that Soo-yun, who was driving, would see her like this. Pooh. Soo-yun resisted the blood rushing to his head. He repeatedly told himself to control his emotions and not to think too much. After that, he didn't dare to look at the rearview mirror again. Even so, the image of Tang-gyo's white breasts was deeply engraved in Soo-yun's mind. It was too exciting. It was like a little boy who accidentally saw his neighbor's little sister taking a bath. After tidying up her clothes, Tang-gyo said, "Who's the person driving the BMW? Is he Zwamayan's man? He looks quite high profile. He's dressed in branded clothes, but the combination is so rustic. It doesn't feel good at all." Soo-yun shook his head. "He's not from Sky Entertainment. He's the underground boss of Qingdao. Sky Entertainment was able to get the quicksand Golden Shore land because of him. It should have been difficult to get it done, but he made a few calls and invited the city's leaders over for a meal and a drink. It was so easy. If you want to do a good job at Sky Entertainment Group in Qingdao, you'll need Shirley's help in the future. Oh, this person is so powerful. Then why did he keep calling you Grandpa Soo?" Tang-gyo said. "Are you trying to prove to me that you are more awesome? You just arrived at Qingdao, and you can already deal with such an awesome character? How did they know each other? Don't tell me that an exchange of blows leads to friendship. That's too melodramatic." It was really that melodramatic. Soo-yun. Although they didn't fight, at least they were at daggers drawn. But one of my friends seems to be quite close to him. So it ended up like this. Tang-gyo nodded, but quickly asked, "What's your relationship with Sky Entertainment Group? Back in Northern G, Zwamayan supported you unconditionally. Now that Sky Entertainment Group is in trouble, you immediately stepped up to help. What's your relationship? Can you tell me? You know, I'm also a businessman." Soo-yun smiled. "Why? Do you want to know how close I am to Sky Entertainment Group? Then you'll talk about the price on my behalf?" Tang-gyo laughed out loud. "That's not the case, but you did remind me. Haha, from what I've seen, your relationship with Sky Entertainment Group and Zwamayan is quite deep. What if I tell you that Sky Entertainment Group is mine? What will you do?" Soo-yun. "Then are you still going to charge me for the construction of the movie plaza? Ha ha ha, at least give me a 50% discount, right?" "What?" Tang-gyo stared at Soo-yun with wide eyes. "I'm not joking with you. I'm serious. What's your relationship with Sky Entertainment Group?" "I'm not that kind of person. Even if you're not related to Sky Entertainment Group, I won't charge you for nothing. It won't affect the quality of the project. Don't worry, even if I talk to Zwamayan alone, I'll be sincere. But I'm not lying. Sky Entertainment Group is really mine." Soo-yun didn't look like he was joking at all. "If you don't believe me, you can ask Zwamayan. Even though I don't know much about Sky Entertainment Group, the truth is the truth." Tang-gyo's mouth trembled. She still couldn't believe it. "Come on, don't tell me if you don't want to. I'm too lazy to ask anyway." About half an hour later, the two luxury cars drove into Zwamayan's new hotel. Tang-gyo also called the staff of Tang Corporation who were on their way to Qingdao and told them to hurry over. It was already noon, so Zwamayan arranged for a simple lunch. After all, they were going to talk business in the afternoon, so there was no time to eat or drink. Even though Shirley wanted to help, Soo-yun didn't let him. After a simple lunch, Zwamayan, Tang-gyo and the staff went to the hotel's conference room to talk business. At this time, Soo-yun was much more relaxed. There was nothing for him to do. Seeing that Wang Zhe and Zui Yeming were not around, Soo-yun asked Wu Yuandong where the two of them went. Wu Yuandong told Soo-yun in a low voice that the two had found a place to rent a speedboat and were going to dispose of Hulai's body on the high seas. Even though Hulai had committed suicide by swallowing his tongue, If he really caused trouble on Qingdao, it would still cause a lot of unnecessary trouble. Shirley suggested taking Su Yin and Wu Yuandong to his place to have some fun. They would take a bath and have a sauna. Then they would find two beautiful masseuses to give them a full-body massage. Wu Yuandong didn't mind the massage, but Su Yin didn't think it was a good idea. After all, there were so many people working hard in the conference room. He would feel bad if he went to do the massage. Zhuo Meiyan and Tang Jiu talked about the details directly. Su Yin had asked Tang Corporation to do the job for Sky Entertainment, so Zhuo Meiyan didn't have any objections. Because they talked about the details directly, it took a long time. They stayed in the conference room for 5 hours. Finally, all the details were finalized before the sky turned dark. After talking about the details, Tang Jiu suddenly became curious again. She asked Zhuo Meiyan, "President Zhuo, I have something to ask you. What is the relationship between Su Yin and Sky Entertainment?" "Didn't Su Yin tell you?" Zhuo Meiyan said calmly. "He is the real heir of Sky Entertainment." Tang Jiu blinked. "President Zhuo, are you two teaming up to make fun of me? I won't take less money just because Sky Entertainment belongs to Su Yin, and I won't cut corners just because Sky Entertainment belongs to you. If he is the heir of Sky Entertainment, then why doesn't he know anything about Sky Entertainment?" Zhuo Meiyan smiled. "Ever since Zhang Taisui passed away, I have been taking care of Sky Entertainment on behalf of Su Yin. He didn't like to be tied down by too many shackles, so I didn't force him to come back and take over Sky Entertainment. But now is the time. As long as the movie and television plaza is built, Sky Entertainment will officially open up the model of Hollywood. Since Sky Entertainment wants to create a new era entertainment empire, Su Yin, as the heir of Sky Entertainment, of course has to take over Sky Entertainment before that happens." Tang Jiu's mouth was wide open. "But, Zhang Taisui, I know what you want to say. Zhang Taisui's surname is Zhang, and Su Yin's surname is Su. Haha, grandfather Zhang has never had a wife or a child, and Su Yin is his only godson." Zhuo Meiyan said, "And I am his last disciple, so I am obligated to help Zhang Taisui maintain his entertainment empire, and help Su Yin inherit everything he should inherit." Tang Jiu was naturally quite surprised. After all this time, the heir of the biggest entertainment company in northern Huaxia was Su Yin, and she had never heard Su Yin mention it before. Su Yin was really low-key. "President Tang, there is no need to be so strange between us. I really don't like to call you President Tang," Zhuo Meiyan continued. "If you don't mind, call me sister, and I will call you sister. We will be family in the future. Su Yin saved my life before, so the friends he cares about are also the ones I, Zhuo Meiyan, care about. Haha, it's all for one man, isn't it?" Zhuo. "Haha, Sister Meiyan." Tang Jiu smiled faintly and immediately changed the way he addressed her. From what he knew, this white-lipped bamboo green was definitely not this gentle. Everyone knew that Zhuo Meiyan had a strange temper, and was temperamental. There were many times when she would do unimaginable things. Tang Jiu's impression of Zhuo Meiyan had always been that she was not a good person, but today her impression of Zhuo Meiyan really changed. Zhuo Meiyan took Tang Jiu's hand. "Sister, the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza is Grandfather Zhang's last wish, so Su Yin attaches great importance to it. Although he doesn't say anything on the surface, he has everything in his heart. He asked you to do this project because he trusts you. In fact, I already knew that I lied to him when I told him that I couldn't find a construction company he trusted. The Qingdao Film and Television Plaza project is a fat piece of meat, and there are many companies eyeing this project. I can find anyone to do it, but I know that only you can make him trust. Sister Meiyan, you are so considerate of him." Tang Jiu sighed from the bottom of her heart. This woman was so meticulous. "All right, let's not talk about it anymore. Let's go eat." They were probably getting impatient from waiting outside. Zhuo Meiyan smiled and said, "At least Su Yin must be impatient. I know his patience too well. He must be very anxious." Tang Jiu nodded and quickly left the room with Zhuo Meiyan. Sure enough, just as they imagined, Su Yin was already waiting very anxiously. Shirley had already prepared dinner. Whether it was Zhuo Meiyan, Tang Jiu, who said that she must pay the bill, or Su Yin who said that no one should fight with him, None of it mattered. Because the place was arranged by Shirley, after they arrived, Shirley said that if anyone dared to take any money from them, he would be angry. He had to pay the bill himself, and this time, it couldn't be free. It had to be his treat. The owner of this restaurant was able to do so well because he had a deep friendship with Shirley. He could be considered one of Shirley's closest little brothers. Since his big brother had said so, what else could he say? He knew that Shirley was a man of his word. If he said that he would pay the bill, it meant that this guest was important enough to him. He definitely wouldn't dare to waive the bill. This meal that cost 500 yuan per person was definitely at the level of 1,800 yuan per person. The wine they drank was also top-notch. If one didn't have any connections, they wouldn't be able to buy it no matter how much money they had. This was what it meant to give Shirley enough face. Chapter 479. After the meal, Shirley insisted on inviting everyone to his footbath city to wash their feet. Due to the presence of ladies, he did not dare to say that he would take Su Yin to take a bath and enjoy a massage. However, it was definitely not too much to ask for a footbath. The people from the Tang group were all tired after a long journey. They had a good impression of this generous and ostentatious boss. As for Shirley's proposal, Zhou Meiyan and Tang Jiu were actually quite embarrassed. At least, they felt that Shirley had helped them enough in all the things on Qingdao. They already owed him a lot of favors. Now that he had to treat them to a meal, they felt really sorry. Therefore, their eyes stopped on Su Yin. Grandpa Su, we are all on the same side, right? If we are on the same side, then it's just going to your shop to wash your feet. Do you still need to be so polite? Shirley could see that the backbone of the two female bosses grew on Su Yin, so he said, I sincerely want to make friends with everyone here. We are all looking at you, Grandpa Su. Since he had said so, what else could Su Yin say? Boss, I've troubled you enough these days. It's really not easy for me to return this favor. What Shirley wanted in his heart was Su Yin's words. No one dared to guarantee anything in the martial arts world. However, if he could make friends with more fierce people like Su Yin, at least he could find a few people to help him when he encountered something he could not solve. This was Shirley's most simple original intention. Everyone, go with Boss. Don't be polite. Treat this as your own home. Su Yin. Boss treats us very well. If Boss asks for anything in the future, everyone here today can't just wipe their mouths and ignore us. Su Yin was very clear about Shirley's original intention. A person in the underworld would not make friends with others for no reason. If Su Yin was a beggar on the street, even if he knew Xie Shirley would not make friends with him. If Su Yin could cover the sky with one hand in some things, even if he had nothing to do with Xie Shirley would definitely be able to find a common language with Su Yin and find a way to make friends with Su Yin. They were brothers everywhere. If a person in the underworld could do this, he would be able to do well in the world. After washing his feet at night, Shirley still did his best to send Su Yin and the others back to the hotel they were staying at. He knew the owner of the hotel. When the owner found out that they were all Shirley's guests, his attitude changed 180 degrees. He was already polite, but now he was even more polite. He was so polite that Su Yin felt numb. Even if you want to flatter someone, you can't do it like this. I've also arranged your rooms. Zhou Meiyan said to Tang Jiu, Sister, rest well tonight. Tomorrow we'll go to the site and see the situation. We'll also get to know the designer this time. He was also introduced by Boss. If there are any details, you must communicate with your team. Tang Jiu nodded and took the room card Feng Ying handed to her. Su Yin stepped forward and said, My room. I'm sleepy too. I want to take a shower and go to bed immediately. Do I have to arrange it for you alone? Zhou Meiyan paused for a moment. You and Sister Tang Jiu can share a suite, right? We transferred to another hotel at the last minute. They only have so many rooms. They're full. Why don't you share a bed with me and Sister Feng Ying? What the? Su Yin didn't even dare to imagine what would happen if he slept between two mature women. Wouldn't he be cooked by the heat of his body? Tang Jiu didn't think too much about it. She said to Su Yin naturally, Just make do. It's good enough to have a hotel when you're away. Don't be so picky. Even if you're the prince of Sky Entertainment Group, you don't have to stay in a suite by yourself. It's too extravagant and wasteful. Well, Su-yin didn't have any other choice. Compared to sleeping with Zhuo Meiyan and Feng Ying, he felt that sleeping with Tang Jio would allow him to control himself better. At the very least, if he couldn't control himself, he wouldn't tire himself out too much. This thought was a little evil. Su-yin shook his head hard and threw this shameless thought out of his mind. After Feng Ying and Zhuo Meiyan returned to their room, she asked her own question. Why did you do this? Meiyan, haven't you always wanted Su-yin? Aren't you afraid that they'll... I don't know. Zhuo Meiyan said. I don't understand why I did this either. Sister Feng Ying, I do want Su-yin. But I just realized that Su-yin, at least he can't be mine alone. Otherwise he wouldn't be mine. And based on my understanding of Tang Jio, I'm afraid that she can't monopolize Su-yin's aura. Isn't that right? Feng Ying smiled helplessly and shook her head. You're really like this. Forget it. No matter what you do, you must have your own reasons. If you feel uncomfortable, you can tell me. Just treat me as a bucket to pour out your grievances. I don't mind being your confidant. The smile on Zhuo Meiyan's face was very relaxed. I'm not that narrow-minded. A man that I, Zhuo Meiyan, fell in love with is definitely not an ordinary man. If I'm stupid like a little girl and have the stupid idea of monopolizing my love, then it means that I'm not worthy of the man I love. Your thoughts are always strange. Fine, I'm old. I can't understand you young people's thoughts anymore. Feng Ying shrugged. Is this the legendary generation gap? Haha, Meiyan, there's a generation gap between us. Do you think I'm really old? Sister Feng Ying, you're not old. I did what I did today because I was inspired by you. Zhuo Meiyan said. There are so many women in the world. Sister Feng Ying, I really admire you and envy you. Feng Ying smiled bitterly. Admire me for what? Envy me for what? Envy me for being single at 32 years old, right? Do you know that it's very, very immoral to mock older women? Sister Feng Ying, do you know what month is the most beautiful in Jiangbei? September. Because September's days are like August, and the nights are like October. Zhuo Meiyan said. What's wrong with a 30-year-old woman? A 30-year-old woman has the face of a 20-year-old woman, and the wisdom of a 40-year-old woman. This is the most beautiful moment in a woman's life. Feng Ying quickly waved her hand and begged for mercy. Don't educate me with lines from TV dramas. You're not much younger than me. If you don't want to be like me, then hurry up and deal with yourself. Once a woman reaches my age, she doesn't think about love. I've been thinking about where to find a reliable man to give birth to my own child. Although I don't want to spend my life with a man, I still want a child of my own. I'm not as trendy as the dink people, but I also yearn for the freedom of celibacy. Zhuo Meiyan gave her a thumbs up. Sister Feng Ying, you've shown me what it means to be trendy. Celibacy but not dink. You can mix such a contradictory theme together. I really admire you. I admire you so much that I want to take a bath. Go 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 go. Feng Ying didn't know whether to laugh or cry. When Tang Jio realized that Zhuo Meiyan had deliberately arranged for her and Su-yin to be in the same room, her face couldn't help but heat up. When she agreed, she was so natural, as if she had slept with Su-yin many times. Although she admitted that it was definitely not the first time that she and Su-yin had been in the same room alone, she really didn't do anything with Su-yin. Do you want to take a bath first or should I? Su-yin pointed at the bathroom and joked. Or should we take a bath together? Tang Jio really wanted to strangle him. She was already excited and a little shy, and now this bastard was still flirting with her. She was simply embarrassed to death. Looking at Tang Jio's red cheeks, Su-yin couldn't help but laugh out loud. Tang Jio wasn't this shy before. Humph. Together? Tang Jio seemed to have seen through Su-yin's thoughts. She raised her head and said, Let's do it together. I was afraid that you wouldn't dare. I'm going to take a bath now. If you have the ability, come in with me. She was the big miss of the Tang Corporation. Her personality and temper couldn't be bullied. She really did what she said, and went to the bathroom to fill the tub. She was sure that Su-yin wouldn't dare. It couldn't be said that he didn't dare. At least, Su-yin was definitely not the kind of person who would take advantage of others. Su-yin was really unconvinced. Was she bullying him because he had the intention but didn't have the guts to do it? This won't do. We have to fight for our dignity. But when Su Yun's hand was on the door handle, he obediently surrendered. Barging in at this time wasn't called manly, it was called dirty. Tang Jiu was feeling rather uneasy in the bathroom. Although Su Yun wasn't the kind of person who would take advantage of others when they were in danger, if she deliberately angered him, she might really barge in and give him a show of strength. She really didn't lock the door. Wasn't it too embarrassing for her to be seen naked? Just as Tang Jiu was struggling in her heart, the bathroom door was really opened. Su Yun's figure quickly flashed in and turned off the bathroom's ceiling light. Tang Jiu's heart was about to jump out of her chest. What was Su Yun trying to do? Could it be that he really couldn't take it anymore and wanted to come in and do that to her? The more Tang Jiu thought about it, the more difficult it was for her to control her emotions. She fumbled around in the dark to turn off the water, but instantly felt Su Yun wrap her up with a bath towel. Before Tang Jiu could shout, Su Yun whispered in her ear, "Don't make a sound, there's someone." Instantly, Tang Jiu's brain buzzed and went blank. She was so nervous that she almost held her breath. What did Su Yun mean? Tang Jiu didn't know what Su Yun meant, but he said that there was someone making Tang Jiu very nervous. The entire room was pitch black. Su Yun's suite was on the 4th floor of the hotel, so it was very easy for someone to climb up the window. Su Yun rushed into the bathroom for 2 reasons. First, he wanted to hide and lure the turtle into the urn. Second, he wanted Tang Jiu to wrap the bath towel around herself. If someone rushed in, he was afraid that she would go crazy. Su Yun thought about a lot of things, but he didn't expect that when he wrapped the bath towel around Tang Jiu, he would accidentally touch a sensitive part of her body. After all, it was suddenly dark and he couldn't see anything. But Tang Jiu couldn't help but let out a moan, which became the most ear-piercing sound in the dark night. Chapter 480. When the 2 black-clothed men who invaded the room had just surrounded the bathroom door, Su Yun suddenly rushed out from the bathroom, directly catching the 2 of them off guard. Obviously, the 2 of them were also experts who were prepared. Even if Su Yun suddenly appeared, the 2 of them quickly responded and hurriedly took a step back. Su Yun sneered. "Look at your clothes, you're not locals, right? I won't talk nonsense with you. You must be sent by the old dog of the Nakamura family." Humph, I didn't expect the old dog to be so capable. He found out that I burned Darong Electronics in such a short time, and even came to Koto Island to find me. The 2 people who were dressed in black were naturally Japanese ninjas. The experts in China didn't dress like this. The experts were all bold and daring. They wouldn't be sneaky like these Japanese dogs. They wouldn't be able to achieve anything. The 2 ninjas in black were holding ninja swords in their hands. The moonlight shone into the room through the open window, and the 2 ninja swords emitted a faint cold light. When Su Yun's voice fell, the 2 ninjas looked at each other. The taller one on the left said in a low voice, "Attack from the top and bottom. You attack from the bottom, and I'll attack from the top. Make it quick. Don't be sloppy." The shorter ninja on the right nodded quickly. It seemed that his level was lower than the taller one. As soon as the 2 men finished speaking, the cold light on their ninja swords burst out. Su Yun couldn't help but laugh. These 2 people underestimated him too much. They didn't think that Su Yun could understand their Japanese, so they directly exposed their battle plan. Before the 2 men attacked, Su Yun had already kicked out a sofa. The shorter ninja, who was about to attack Su Yun's lower body, was immediately stopped by Su Yun. The taller ninja's face changed, but it was too late to do anything now. With his personal strength, it was impossible for him to be compared with Su Yun. Without the fear of danger under his feet, Su Yun easily snatched the ninja sword from his opponent's hand. However, the opponent didn't intend to admit defeat so easily. As he jumped back to escape, 2 shurikens flew out of his sleeves. Fortunately, Su Yun seized the ninja sword and blocked it in time, so he wasn't injured by the hidden weapons. The Japanese ninjas' hidden weapons were indeed not to be underestimated. The single-pointed shurikens were known as flying needles, and the double-pointed shurikens were known as sunban. Su Yun had no choice but to sidestep and dodge several thousand ben. Without waiting for Su Yun to regain his footing, Another 2 cross-chariot marks pierced towards the place where Su Yin had landed. They were brimming with murderous intent, each of their moves wanting to kill Su Yin. They had no intention of showing mercy. The shorter ninja who was blocked by Su Yin with the sofa didn't stay idle. He threw all kinds of hidden weapons at Su Yin. Compared with Hua Xiao's kung fu, ninjas' close combat was their biggest flaw. At least Su Yin thought so. When Su Yin dodged all the hidden weapons and approached the taller ninja, the latter instantly panicked and hurriedly retreated to escape by jumping out of the window. Su Yin followed closely and punched him heavily. The ninja's body directly flew out of the window and fell directly on the lawn several floors below. The shorter ninja saw this and quickly fled to the window. Without waiting for Su Yin to make a move, he turned back and blew out a few needles while jumping out of the window without hesitation. At this time, Su Yin vaguely regretted. After all, the other party was a ninja. Being as light as a swallow was the basic requirement of a ninja. Although falling from these floors would cause serious injuries to ordinary people, it wasn't that serious for a ninja. At most, it might just be a flesh scratch. Su Yin stood by the window, and an inexplicable worry arose in his heart. He quickly dialed Ruan Qingshuang's number. If Darong Electronics' Nakamura could find him, he would know that he was related to Yi Fala. Then, Ruan Qingshuang and Guogua who lived in Yi Fala's villa would naturally be in danger. Ruan Qingshuang was in a good mood when she received Su Yin's call. She smiled and asked, "How is it? How's your matter?" "It's okay. It should be solved by tomorrow." "Su Yin, where are you?" "I'm still at Xingkai Hotel." "You are not at home," Ruan Qingshuang said. "Guogua has already gone to school. That school is under compulsory closed management. Chou Yin is not at ease. She must accompany her to study." With great difficulty, Wanner was able to open up a connection to let Chou Yin accompany her to study. "There's no one at home now. I might as well stay at the hotel. I asked them to set up a foldable bed in the office." Su Yin felt a little distressed when he heard this. "You're not going to stay in the hotel's office directly, are you? Is the hotel so busy that there's not even a vacant room? And there are too many rooms booked for the annual meeting at the end of the year. Actually, the office is pretty good. At least I think it's not bad now. At night, I can exercise with the fitness coach in the hotel's leisure and fitness center." Ruan Qingshuang, "I can't stand being alone now. If I don't enrich myself, I will feel very uncomfortable. Then I'll go back to accompany you after I finish my business in Qingdao." Su Yin's words were like a lover on a business trip. Ruan Qingshuang felt warm in her heart. But he then reminded her, "Sister Shuang, before I go back, you'd better not stay alone. I'm a little worried that something might happen recently. Just stay in the hotel for 2 more days." Ruan Qingshuang nodded. "Staying in the hotel is not bad at all. Ehe, I'm used to it. Okay, I'll wait for you to come back. I'm going to the fitness center to do some exercise." Goodbye. Su Yin hung up the phone and felt a lot more at ease. The Nakamura family had started to make a move on him, but at least they had not implicated Ruan Qingshuang and the others. So Su Yin was relieved. Even if there were 100 Japanese devils, he would kill them all. Tang Jiu heard that there was no sound outside. She carefully wiped her body and put on her clothes. Seeing the mess in the room, she could not help but ask Su Yin with her eyes wide open, "Oh my God, what happened? Where are they?" Su Yin pointed out the window. "They all jumped out and ran away. Don't worry, they'll look for me. When I leave Qingdao, you'll have some peace." Tang Jiu's mouth opened even wider. This was too exaggerated. They just jumped out of the building and ran away? Even if they didn't die, they would probably be disabled. Thinking that Su Yin was in trouble, Tang Jiu could not help but worry. Is it because of me? Is it because of the person I brought here? Su Yin shook his head. If it's those people, I'm afraid it won't be so easy. But don't worry, at least they won't be able to find us for a while. Hu Lai had been thrown into the open sea by Zui Yeming and Wang Zhe. He was like a stone sinking to the bottom of the sea. He was no threat at all. Su Yin was not the one who was anxious now, but Leng Chun and Miao Dao. However, Su Yin still did not know the relationship between Hu Lai and Leng Chun. He was worried about Wang Huang. After all, Hu Lai used to be Wang Longhuang's man. If he knew that Hu Lai's death was related to him, the bloodthirsty black tiger Luo Xing would not let him off easily. Speaking of which, Wang Longhuang was not necessarily easier to deal with than Leng Qin. They were both great overlords of their respective regions. Even though the Netherworld King's status was obviously higher, Wang Longhuang dared to call himself the Son of Heaven. This meant that he was not someone that ordinary people could afford to offend. Tang Jiu saw that the room was a little messy and wanted to clean it up, but he was stopped by Su Yun. "You'd better not touch it. These things might be soaked in poison." As he spoke, Su Yun tore off a piece of bedsheet and cleaned up the shurikens, blow needles, and other hidden weapons left by the two people into the trash can. Then, Su Yun dripped water on the bedsheet and found that there was no reaction. He heaved a sigh of relief. Maybe he was thinking too much. These hidden weapons did not seem to be poisonous. Or maybe it was because Nakamura wanted to capture them alive. Su Yun sneered. "Go take a bath and rest early. Sister Mayan has already made an appointment with the designer that Boss Sure introduced. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning at Quicksand Gold Coast." Tang Jiu looked at his watch. "We have to wake up early tomorrow. We can't be late." Su Yun nodded. When he was lying in the bathtub filled with hot water, he realized that Tang Jiu had just called Zhuo Meiyan something. Sister Meiyan? Women were really scary. They became good sisters so quickly. What was Zhuo Meiyan thinking? Not only did she build a good relationship with Tang Jiu, but she also arranged for him to stay in the same room with her. Could it be because of that day when he thought about how he had failed to live up to his expectations and fainted that day? Su Yun's worry surged into his heart again. He might have to find Yu Marin to do a comprehensive checkup to find out what was wrong with his body. After dealing with things here, Su Yun must return to Xinjiang and find an opportunity to bring Guogua to see Yu Marin. After taking a comfortable hot bath, Su Yun walked out of the bathroom. Tang Jiu had already fallen asleep on the bed. After drying his hair, Su Yun could only lie down beside Tang Jiu. He thought to himself that this girl was really strong. She could actually fall asleep. Wasn't she afraid that he would do something to her? Of course, Tang Jiu couldn't fall asleep so quickly. She was afraid that she wouldn't know how to face Su Yun, so she closed her eyes and pretended to be asleep. At least Su Yun wouldn't take advantage of her when she was in danger. However, if they were in love and couldn't control each other, it would be hard to say. No matter what, Tang Jiu had to hold on. She couldn't really do anything with Su Yun just because Zhuo Meiyan had arranged for her to be in the same room as Su Yun. The night passed very slowly. At least, that was what Tang Jiu felt. She didn't even know when she fell asleep. Su Yun was a heartless guy. Not long after, he went to play chess with the Duke of Zhou. He even mumbled a few words that Tang Jiu couldn't understand in his sleep. He said something like, "Once a person who is dragon's fury for a day, forever a ghost who is dragon's fury for life, and sharing life and death together." However, Tang Jiu didn't have the heart to wake him up. This was because when she looked at Su Yun for the last time, she saw that the corners of Su Yun's eyes were a little wet. She knew that he must be dreaming, but she didn't know what he was dreaming about. In Tang Jiu's eyes, this man probably didn't even know what tears were. The night passed uneventfully. When Tang Jiu was awakened by the alarm at 6 o'clock in the morning, Su Yun was no longer by the bed. The things that were messy in the room last night were now neatly arranged. Tang Jiu sat up and quickly put on her clothes. Then she skillfully washed and put on makeup in the bathroom. Everything was done within 15 minutes. When she came out of her room, Zhuo Meiyan also came out of her room. The two of them saw each other almost at the same time and asked the same thing in unison. "Good morning, where's Su Yun?" Obviously, Su Yun wasn't with any of them. No one knew where he had gone. However, the most important thing now was not Su Yun's matter. After all, he was a grown man. Nothing would happen to him. Chapter 481. Su Yun got up early in the morning and left without saying goodbye, because he was worried about his brothers in Hudong City. Hu Lai and the others had been dealt with, but what if other people continued to cause trouble for them? Before Su Yun figured out who was behind Hu Lai's actions, It was better for everyone to be careful. While Tang Jiu and the others were still asleep, Su Yun got up early and left the hotel. With Shirley's help in Qingdao, they should not encounter too much trouble. When Su Yun received Dan Jiahao's call, he heard a nurse next to him telling him not to move around while he was on N4 drip. He knew that they must be seriously injured. After all, Hu Lai was a first-class supermaster, not a hooligan on the street who relied on showing off to make a living. There was a world of difference between them and Hu Lai. Su Yun got up early in the morning to catch the high-speed train. After more than 2 hours, he arrived at Hudong City at 8 o'clock in the morning. After getting out of the car, Su Yun quickly called Xiao Fei. Xiao Fei had been arranged to run the medicinal cuisine restaurant, and he rarely went out, so Su Yun was sure that he was not injured. Sure enough, Xiao Fei was very excited after receiving Su Yun's call. He said that he was in the hospital with Brother Chong. He immediately handed the phone to Chong and asked him to talk to Su Yun. Su Yun did not call Chong because he believed that Chong would go to the drug rehabilitation center obediently. So he did not call Chong. Now Chong was not in the drug rehabilitation center, but in the hospital with Xiao Fei to take care of the 3 tigers of Nanqing and Dan Jiahao. Xiangzi was probably feeling even more dejected at that moment. After Big Brother Yin returned to Hudong, he didn't even call him to ask about the situation. Although he knew that it was because of him, he still felt very disappointed. Didn't I ask you to go to the drug rehabilitation center? Why didn't you go? Su Yun said indifferently. Don't you want to go? Are you scared? Chong shook his head and bit his lower lip. I'm not afraid, brother. Just because I didn't go doesn't mean I didn't quit. I swear I'll never touch you again. I hope you believe me. Chong, it's not that I don't believe you, but I know how terrible drug addiction is. Su Yun took a deep breath. I believe you, but I also believe in drug addiction. Don't make it difficult for me. I'm doing this for your own good. I think of you as a brother, which is why I'm advising you to go to rehab. If I didn't treat you as one of my own, do you think I would care if you took drugs? Even if you die, what does it have to do with me? Chong choked with sobs and said, I was wrong, I really know I was wrong. At this moment, Xiao Fei snatched the phone from Chong's hand and said, Brother Yin, I promise you that Brother Chong will correct his mistake. He will never touch that thing again. Su Yun didn't want to say too much. Which hospital are you in? I'll tell you when I get there. Brother Yin, wait for me at the high-speed railway station. I'll pick you up. Xiao Fei said. In the past 6 months, the medicinal cuisine business had been very good. He had also made a lot of money. Last month, he had just spent more than 200,000 yuan to buy a Regal. I'll go directly. Su Yun's words left no room for doubt. Which hospital? Xiao Fei immediately replied, the city hospital. Su Yun waved his hand to call a taxi and quickly rushed to the city hospital. When he arrived at the hospital, the first thing he saw was Chong waiting for him at the door. Chong looked very haggard. He had lost at least a few kilograms since that day. Seeing Chong's haggard appearance, Su Yun really couldn't bear to see him. What made him even more sorry was the thick gauze bandage on Chong's left hand, and the color of the medicine on his little finger. Brother, I really quit. After Chong finished speaking, he raised his injured left hand. When I was addicted, I chopped off one finger as soon as I thought about it. I swear, I will never touch it again. I won't even think about it. If I think about it again, I'll chop it again. Even if I have to chop off all 10 fingers, I will never think about it again. Su Yun didn't say anything. He reached out and patted Chong's shoulder heavily. What else could he say? Since Chong had such tenacity, he would definitely be able to quit. Although this thing was very scary and difficult to quit once you were addicted to it, if you really wanted to quit, and if you really had the determination, you would definitely be able to do it. Nothing in the world was difficult for a determined person. Chong took Su Yun to the ward. Through his connections in the hospital, Dan Jiahao and the 3 tigers of Nanqing were all arranged to be in the same ward. When Su Yun came in, Xiao Fei was chatting with the patients. They were all laughing and were in a good mood. LV Winnie sat by Dan Jiahao's bed and helped him peel an apple. Seeing Su Yun's sudden arrival, their eyes lit up and they said in unison, Brother Yin? Why are you here? You are all seriously injured. How can I not come to see you? Su Yun couldn't help but frown when he saw their appearance. Dan Jiahao should be the one with the heaviest injuries. He had been beaten up too many times, followed by Lu Feng who had been stabbed. The four of them had bruises and swelling that hadn't disappeared yet. Moreover, if it wasn't their arms, legs, or ribs, all of them had either light or heavy fractures. Small matter. Lu Feng chuckled. We are all men. Who hasn't been beaten a few times? Haha, anyway the three of us are fine. I just don't know if Dan Jiahao can survive. He is too stubborn and wants to be a hero. He is the only one who suffered. Dan Jiahao was injured all over, but he could still smile at this time. What can I do? You are all brothers. I can't just watch you get beaten. I am young and can resist. You are the best, okay? Still stubborn. LV Winnie was angry and laughed. She helplessly stuffed the apple directly into Dan Jiahao's mouth. If you are so good, then eat the apple yourself. You can't even hold a chopstick. You are still so stubborn. Dan Jiahao just chuckled. The three tigers of Nanqing, Chang, and Xiaofei couldn't help but laugh out loud. Su Yun gave Dan Jiahao a thumbs up. Well, it seems that we are going to drink your wedding wine soon? No, not old enough. I support the national policy. Late marriage and late childbirth, hee. I support the national policy. Dan Jiahao's face was almost as bright as a flower. LV Winnie saw that Su Yin was also joking with them. She blushed and quickly ran out of the ward. These men were really bad. Su Yin didn't know what he should say to thank them. Everything was said without words. They could protect the safety of Ruan Qingxuang, Guogua, and Chou Yun and didn't complain at all. They were indeed worthy of being brothers. I am afraid this matter is not over yet. I don't want you to face this kind of danger again. Su Yin said. Think of a way to sell the medicinal cuisine big house. Right now, with the influence of the medicinal cuisine house in Hudong, if we sell the medicinal cuisine big house, we can definitely earn a very large sum of money. Suddenly, Su Yin realized that one person was missing. Where's Liangshan? Kong Zhong touched his chin. Brother Yin, don't you know Liangshan's sister? She doesn't like to talk and doesn't like to be in a crowd. No matter what, she must take Liangshan back home to take care of him. Fortunately, Liangshan's injury was not serious. At first, he was knocked out by that grandson and tied to one side. It's just a sprain of his arm. It's not a big problem to recuperate at home. Su Yin nodded and continued. If we sell the medicinal cuisine hotel, the other party will have no clue. LV Feng, you first find a way to let people follow you to do the construction, or arrange the people of the hotel to be in all the branches of the medicinal cuisine hotel. The hotel can be sold, but the medicinal cuisine hotel must be kept. This is Sister Shuang's ancestral business. It must not be lost. Brother, don't worry, we have already arranged it. Dan Honing said. Now the hotel is temporarily closed. Everyone has been arranged in all the branches. We have also thought about this troublesome problem. We are thinking of discussing it with you after we leave the hospital. Dan Jiahao was somewhat unwilling. Brother Yin, transfer out? Just like that. Sell the medicinal cuisine hotel to others? It must be transferred out. Su Yin. This is for your safety. Then what am I supposed to do? Dan Jiahao was unwilling to accept this. He had just gotten a platform to stand out, but now, he suddenly had nothing. This difference was too big. Dan Jiahao really didn't want to accept this feeling of loss. Dan Hongning rolled his eyes at him. Okay, look at you. Don't you want to be the boss and manage the hotel? How about this? Your brother Kong Zhong, and I happen to be helping your brother Feng with the matter of the artificial river. We will directly hand the medicinal cuisine hot pot restaurant over to you. You can keep whatever we earn, but you have to pay us the basic cost. Is that okay? Yes, we will give the medicinal cuisine hot pot restaurant to you. Kong Zhong nodded in agreement. They just wanted to discuss with LV Feng to make the construction project bigger. They wanted to rely more on the Tang Group to do some work and learn some experience to prepare for the promotion in the future. So they were afraid that they would not be in the mood to manage the medicinal cuisine hot pot restaurant. Really? Dan Jiahao said in disbelief. Really, I can make the decision. Su Yun smiled and said, "If you don't even believe your brother's words, then do you believe my words?" Dan Jiahao was overjoyed. "Brother Yun, I don't necessarily believe my brother's words, but I will definitely believe your words 100 times, 10,000 times, because they will not dare to go against your words. Hee, it's settled. The medicinal cuisine hot pot restaurant is mine." Everyone hit it off. The Tang Group is working on the Sky Entertainment Group's film and television plaza project in Qingdao. They should have a very detailed plan and design before the new year. When the specific construction is done, I will ask Tang Jiu to arrange some things for you. Su Yin said to LV Feng, Dan Hongning, and Kong Zhong. He knew that compared to medicinal cuisine, the Three Tigers of Southern City were more suitable for construction and engineering. LV Feng was stunned. Sky Entertainment Group's work? Brother. No way, they are one of the biggest entertainment companies in the country. They must be very high level to build a film and television plaza. How can they be interested in a small company like ours? You will make things difficult for President Tang, won't you? Su Yun was stunned for a moment, then slowly said, "It won't make things difficult. I have the final say in the Sky Entertainment Group." The whole ward was silent. Not to mention a needle dropping. Even if a thread dropped, the sound would be heard. A young nurse pushed open the door and broke the silence in the ward. "Why is your room so quiet today? It's not like your room." Chapter 482. Seeing the nurse running out of the ward in a panic, Su Wenya, who was promoted to the head of the nurses, frowned slightly. She knew very well what kind of people lived in this ward. She thought that they were gangsters who bullied the new nurses in the hospital, so she strode to the ward and signaled the nurse who ran out to do other things. She pushed the door open and walked in. "You guys understand that this is the hospital, not your home. Our nurses are not paid to serve you, so please pay attention to your words and actions. Don't let me find out that you're hitting the nurses in our hospital." Halfway through her words, Su Wenya's eyes swept across the bed and finally fell on Su Yun. She suddenly cried out in surprise. "Why are you here? Why are you here? Oh my God. This is too much of a coincidence. Long time no see. How have you been?" The people in the room looked at each other. The nurse in front of them was the fiercest one they had ever seen in the hospital. She was angry, but what she said was very reasonable. Most of the patients had nothing to say to refute her. They couldn't believe that Su Yin had a relationship with this weird-tempered nurse, so everyone was curious about the relationship between the two. If Brother Yin had a good relationship with her, maybe he could take care of her in the future. "Who are you? Do we know each other? Or have we met somewhere before?" Su Yun's words instantly shattered the expectations of the patients. Wasn't this the same as giving Nurse Su a cold shoulder? Not to mention that Nurse Su had a bad temper. Even a good-tempered person would go crazy. No one would be happy about losing face if it happened to them. However, Su Wenya didn't fly into a rage as everyone imagined. She bit her lips shyly and said, "Of course we've met. I'm a nurse. Where else do you think we've met other than in the hospital? But your memory is too bad. Not only have we met, but we've met twice. Once when you were admitted to the hospital, and once when you came to visit a friend." Su Yin listened to her like a monk. He couldn't make sense of it at all. But seeing how confident Su Wenya was, it seemed like she really had seen him before. He had only been admitted to the hospital once. "Oh." Su Yin suddenly realized. "So it's you. I'm so sorry. Look at my brain, it's rusty, really rusty." Su Wenya was a bit bashful and a bit angry. She said, "Surely you don't remember my name?" "I remember you, Su Yin. You're the first and only person I've ever seen with a gunshot wound. I'll never forget that." Su Yin smiled awkwardly. "Isn't that serving the people and cooperating with the police?" "Is that so?" As Su Wenya spoke, she glanced at the patients. "These are your friends, right? They're all seriously injured. I really don't know who they fought with. Are they the police?" Not only does he not look like a police officer, he even looks a little like a lowlife. "Nurse Su, we are all legitimate business people. Someone is looking for trouble with us." Dan Jiahao couldn't help but speak first. Su Wenya glared at Dan Jiahao. "You're the most severely injured. You still have the nerve to say that. I don't believe that you didn't fight. If you didn't fight, the other party wouldn't have been so ruthless, unless they were extremely vicious outlaws. Soo-Yun smiled slightly. The other party is really a vicious outlaw. Nurse Sue, come here for a moment. I have something to talk to you alone. As he spoke, Soo-Yun walked out of the ward first. Of course, Su Wenya immediately followed behind Soo-Yun. She was full of curiosity about this man. As soon as the two walked out of the door, Dan Honing sighed on the bed. You say we're all men. Why is the gap so big? How much more handsome is Brother Yun than us? When he came to the hospital, even the nurses treated him differently. How could people like us endure this? Alas, the gap. I think you're a tragedy. Lu Feng laughed and said, your brother's wedding banquet is almost in advance. You should hurry up. Dan Jiahao and LV Winnie blushed. Outside the ward, Su-Yun smiled at Su Wenya. Nurse Su, you must be very curious about what I do, right? Su Wenya nodded and said without hesitation. Of course, not just curious. I'm very curious. The first time you came to the hospital, you were with the police. This time, you came to the hospital with several gangsters from Hudong City. What do you do? I'm afraid you won't believe me. And I really shouldn't tell anyone about my identity. But I believe that you're a person who can keep secrets. And I need you to help me take care of my friends in the hospital. They're not bad people. They're just helping me. Su-Yun said seriously. He couldn't help but put his hands on Su Wenya's shoulders. Su Wenya was stunned. It took her a long time to come back to her senses. Then who are you? Su-Yun leaned close to Su Wenya's ear and whispered. I'm an undercover, a police informant. When I told you that they were hurt by a vicious person, I wasn't kidding. Because I have my job, I'll leave them to you. I have to catch that vicious person as soon as possible. Why did it sound like a movie? Su Wenya thought that undercover and informant jobs only existed in Hong Kong police and gangster movies. She couldn't believe that an undercover informant would appear in front of her. It was unbelievable. I can't stay here for too long. Please, I'll leave them to you. After Su-Yun finished speaking, he strode out of the hospital. Su Wenya stared at Su-Yun's back in a daze, until the head nurse walked up to her and coughed. She said, Xiao Su, in the future, please don't let your boyfriend show up at work, and don't do anything as intimate as that. It's against the rules, understand? Huh. Boyfriend. Su Wenya hurriedly shook her head and explained. Head nurse, please don't misunderstand. I'm not in that kind of relationship with him. We're just normal friends. No, actually, we're not normal friends. It's just that the patient's family. Okay, don't explain anymore. The head nurse said. I think that young man is quite good. Haha, Xiao Su, if there's an opportunity you must seize it. I know you're young and beautiful, and you don't lack those rich young masters pursuing you. But listen to me. I've been there. Everything in life can't be solved with just money. As long as young people are motivated and know how to put their families first. That's the most important thing. Su Wenya helplessly smiled bitterly. Forget it, she didn't want to explain anymore. There was no point in explaining. The head nurse had already decided that Su-Yun was her boyfriend. Forget it, forget it. This was good. If the whole hospital knew about it, then no one would introduce her to anyone and ask her to go on blind dates. She felt that she was only 23. She was still young. Even if she wanted to find someone, she must find someone. She really wanted to find someone like Su-Yun. If she was asked what she thought about Su-Yun, she could only say that Su-Yun had a special kind of masculinity. This was not the kind of temperament that ordinary people could have. When Su Wenya walked into the ward again, Chang was stunned. Where's my brother? You mean Su-Yun? He's already gone. Su Wenya said. In the future, if you have any problems or need anything, just tell me. As long as it doesn't violate my principles, I'll try my best to help you. At this time, Chang had already chased out of the ward. When he saw that Su-Yun was no longer there, he knew that Nurse Su wasn't lying to them. When Su Wenya left the ward again, Kong Zhong sucked in a breath of cold air. Oh, what do you think Brother Yun gave her? This hot-tempered nurse is actually so gentle to us? As a woman, there were very few who could remain unmoved in front of Brother Yun. LV Winnie smiled slightly. If I'm not wrong, Nurse Sue must be moved by Brother Yin. It seems that you'll have a good life in the hospital in the future. Brother Yin is too thoughtful. Even if he leaves, he will make sure that the environment is good for you. When LV Winnie said this, they were even more reluctant to let Brother Yun leave. However, no matter what, Su Yun still had his own things to do. As for those who wanted to find Guogua, they definitely couldn't do anything. The only thing they could do was pray. Also, if they really encountered such a thing, they would never betray them. Su Yun left the hospital and immediately rushed to the high-speed railway station. As soon as he arrived in Hudong City, he immediately bought a ticket to Xinjiang. Today's time was indeed a little tight, but fortunately he could at least rush back to Xinjiang as soon as possible. Since Nakamura of Darong Electronics dared to fight back, it seemed that the heavy punch last time was not enough to make him repent. Since he had already exposed himself, there was no need to hide anything from the other party. Sitting on the high-speed railway to Xinjiang, Su Yun had to thank the State Railway General Administration again. If it weren't for their hard work, he wouldn't be able to rush to 2 cities in such a short time. Although the plane was fast, it was still not as convenient as the high-speed railway. Except for the slightly higher ticket price, Su Yun was satisfied with everything else. Also, the coffee on the high-speed railway wasn't free, and there were no free snacks or free lunches. Su Yun's bus arrived just in time for lunchtime. He could only fork out money to eat a boxed lunch that had nothing to do with the quality and price of the food. At 2:15 in the afternoon, Su Yun finally breathed in the air of Xinjiang again. After walking out of the station, Su Yun finally understood the difference between the air of a big city and the air of a small county. The smell of PM had absolutely nothing to do with freshness. If Su Yun had to choose, Su Yun would never choose to live in a city with poor air quality and expensive housing prices. Su Yun waved his hand and got into a taxi. He went straight to Xinkai Hotel. Hearing a foreign accent and checking in at such an expensive hotel, some of the drivers who were not very good would naturally take a detour. Of course, this driver was more unlucky because Su Yun knew that the route was not that far. Not only did he not earn more than a few dollars, but he was also directly kicked out by the security guards that Su Yun called over. Just like that, the first job after lunch was gone. You're tuning into the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.